All right. So today we are here with Kam Farmer, Kameron Farmer. He's also the host of Respectfully
What's
by
up, man? How
Kam
you doing?
Farmer. What's going
Appreciate
on,
you for
Cam?
having me on.
I'm doing good, bro. And we've been trying to get on for a while now. Just schedule conflicts ain't really had
Right,
us
right.
going right yet.
But I appreciate you having me on, man.
So tell the people about yourself. Yeah, tell the people about yourself, what you got going on, who you are, what you do, man.
Even you said it plainly, man. My name's Kameron Farmer. I'm the host of the Respectfully podcast. I also got to shout out my other one, Dad, You're Wrong. I got to shout out Pops, Ma Dukes, the little bro, man. I'm a grad student at UGA, University of Georgia, studying journalism, and I aspire to have a career in on air broadcasting. So whether it's sports, whether it's news, whether it's investigative journalism, man, that is my goal. That is my objective in this life. I also want to take a dip in the filmmaking pond. So I currently own Go Time Production Company. So right now we're really just starting out with two podcasts, but in the coming years, I hope to achieve success in other parts of the industry, whether it's film, TV shows. Helping other people create their podcasts to where they would want to partner with me, and if I don't know, man. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but that's the dream. But yeah, bro, that's me, man.
Yeah. To all my listeners, so this is how I started. So I had listened to a couple of Cam's pods, and I was like, "Well, I want to do this because I just want to do something for fun. I like talking to people. I'm a sociable person." So I reached out to Cam. I was like, "Hey, bro, how do you even get started?" And he sent. Honestly, bro, was so helpful with it. If it was me, I'd be like, "Dude, I ain't got time for this," and I know how busy it is, not only being a grad student, but doing your businesses, doing the podcast. But I reached out to him, bro, helped me out with effort. Like, dude sent me links. Hey, you need to get this, this, and this. And, he told me what apps to get, how to do it, how to edit. And obviously, I'm going to have my kinks as I go away. But my dude Cam has helped me all along the
Yeah,
way. So I
bro.
do
Listen,
appreciate that, brother.
I wanna see you eat, man, and I wanted to be that resource any way that I could. And yeah, man, I really love what you're doing, and that's one of the reasons why. Because I was like, dang, like
I appreciate it.
I didn't really ask for help, but what's the harm in
Yeah,
starting and learning as you go, and then possibly helping someone else. So I love your work
absolutely.
and what you're doing, man. So I'm a big fan. Real talk.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I listen to all of yours, bro. I try to listen to as many as possible to you, and not exactly the bigger ones, but I like listening to everybody just so I can get a feel of okay, I like this, maybe this I wouldn't add or
Right.
do this. So I kind of critique it, and I hate listening to my own because I don't like listening to my voice because after editing and going through everything, I don't like hearing it no more. So that's why I listen to other people's podcasts like yourself. I will listen to Club
Facts.
Shay Shay. I have to listen to Club Shay Shay because they be getting down on Club Shay Shay. I mean, if I could get like Club Shay Shay
Yeah,
one day with
yeah.
him and Ocho, that'd be dope. So tell me about so after you graduated high school, how did you get into what you're doing now? What made you want to jump
Yeah,
into that?
man. So when I graduated Grovetown, I knew that I wanted to be in sports. So my dad was like, "Hey, Cam, if you," because at first I wanted to be a lawyer, and then my dad, I was like, man, after I seen what it's a lot of
A
school,
lot of
bro.
school, bro. A
Yes.
lot of reading.
So my dad, we was having a conversation, and he was like, "Yeah, man, if you want to get into, law, you could be a sports agent." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So that's how I got into Kennesaw, my major or bachelor's in sports management. And it wasn't until my junior year of college when I was at Kennesaw where my professor, Professor Will Edmonds, like we were just I took a sport broadcasting class. And at that time I knew I wanted to go into sports media. I just didn't know how. And he just told me to start small. And so I just told him how, like, yo, like my dad, my brother, my mom, we argue about sports like all the time. And so like he
Yeah,
was like, and he was a producer from at CNN. And I was like, well, like he was like, yeah, you should start a podcast. And I was like, I ain't gonna start a podcast, like that's lame. That's lame. Like, but as I like did research and I started seeing like the sports industry become extremely saturated with athlete generated content, I was like, oh, maybe I could do something with this. So I wanted so from that so April 16th, which is today, what marks like it marks the 2-year anniversary of Respectfully and Dad You're Wrong. And I remember we
That's dope,
we
bro.
we started our first episode. It was on a Zoom, and it was literally the first day of the NBA playoffs between the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. And I just remember just sitting there like, dude, like my professor actually inspired, like he actually came up with the name Dad You're Wrong. And that's why it is what it is today. And then I use respectfully, like respectfully is literally one of the most used words like that I say. So like, and I said it with everything, like
Yeah,
sports, life, everything in general. And so that's why have created the podcast Respectfully centered around things. Yeah, it pertains to sports, but like I try to gather a deeper understanding about what athletes or former athletes say. I try to have guests on the podcast, even because I had my friends Shariah and Shanice on the podcast back in December, and yeah, they played volleyball, but I really brought them on just to kind of like talk about what their lives have been like post graduation, and for anybody that is graduating in December. So yeah, and then I've used my pod when I created the podcast, and I transitioned to UGA. That's when I knew I was like, okay, I really got to hunker down with this because it's like you said, it's graduate school, and I ain't even gonna lie, man to man, bro, graduate school ain't for everybody. Like it really is. It is not for everybody, bro. Like, and a lot of people don't
yeah,
know. Like I do my own editing, my own social media. Like I don't have a team yet, but as of right now, like I really like a lot of the concerns or issues or worries that I've partially had over the last year has been because of like how am I gonna create this podcast, or how am I gonna like what episode am I gonna censor the podcast around, or things of that nature. So yeah, man, it's been a challenge for sure. Like the last time I posted was a month ago, like literally a month ago, and I mean, it's grad school. It definitely does it gets hectic at times, but yeah, man, really starting this podcast, really wanting to dabble in journalism, but also surround myself with creatives, who not only can write but who can also speak at the same time. And yeah, man,
yeah.
that's the story of it.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. Honestly, bro. So the reason I started it, it was like I was going to work every day. I was
Yeah,
going to the gym every day, and I was home. You know what I mean? And when you get home, you get into that lackadaisical, you sitting watching TV. I was like, I need something, right? Because I'm a very, by nature, humans are always very curious people. So it was like, as I was listening to a lot of podcasts, I was like, they're just talking. There is no, that sometimes you'll have effort, whether it be not but maybe an argument, but just all talking and learning from different people, especially like people like Joe Rogan's podcast, where he just has random
right.
people on all the time just to speak. You know what I mean? So that's what I kind of did, and I was like, I'm gonna hop into this. I'm gonna do it for fun. I made sure to tell myself this is for fun. You have work at work. This needs to be something you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, stop doing it at a certain point. So I started doing it, and honestly, bro, just talking to different people. Like last episode, I had Iman on. We talked about different things. The first time we talked more of a football base. You know, what was football for you, and what happened after football. And then more, we talked on the second podcast. We got into the deeper stuff of it. We started talking about social economical issues. We started talking about families. We started talking about different problems in society, and that's just two people talking. That's me and Iman, a former athlete, me, a former athlete after school, coming out and just having conversations. So that's the main reason I started it. And honestly, bro, I edit a little bit, but I try to be as much as I want people to feel like this is a natural conversation than anything. I just want to feel like people are in the room. They just can't talk right now. They're just listening to two people talk about differences. So I'm trying to get as many people on as possible. I reach out to
Right.
literally anybody and everybody. just to be like, hey, I may not even know you. Hop on the pod. This is what I do. I talk about everything. I try to learn about people and what they do, their backgrounds, just to get a better understanding of the world. So that's literally what my podcast is based around. I don't have a central focus. People ask me that all the time, and I think this is something I'm not into. I want to talk to everybody because once you base something and you get a following, they're going to expect that over and over and over. And I
Yeah.
just didn't want to hop
No,
into that
I
at
mean
all.
I agree. I think a lot of times, people are telling you, they're asking you like what's your why and stuff like that. In some cases, like we
Yeah,
give people a bad rap about not knowing why they're doing certain things. And for me, like I'm doing this for fun, bro. Like in all honesty, like
exactly.
I'm so grateful for the feedback that I've received. And you know but I tell people too, I'm like I'm not doing this pod forever. Like I don't know how God is gonna do it. I don't. If you were to ask me, do I see myself doing a podcast like within the next year? I don't know. Because I'm gonna be real. I didn't see myself doing a podcast this year at all because of the demands of graduate school. But I think a lot of times, and you made a very good point, how you try to make it as natural, the conversation as natural as possible without, you know, I mean, yeah, you edit, but also at the same time, you want to make it as natural as possible. And I think for me, when I post like on YouTube, I barely make any edits. I mean, the only edits I'm making is like, corrections to my name, corrections to the person that I have, their names and things of that nature. But I barely make any edits. Like I don't really do all of the like, and you've seen my reels. Like I don't really post pictures on my YouTube videos because I really want people to actually see the conversation that we're having. And
Yeah,
yeah, you like I said, I feel like to for us to both do what we do, because you see, like in such a saturated market, especially with athlete generated content, a lot of these athletes are getting paid to do podcasts. So, like, if you honestly think about it,
yeah,
and I'm not saying like get your bag, like get your money's worth, like please, by all means. But I feel like if you do it, we're doing this for free now, and then like we get to a certain point where people start reaching out to us like, hey Jacob, I really love this nice company. Hey, we really love what you do, and we would love to give you X amount for per episode. It'll make the journey of what you're doing now for fun so much better, bro. Like in all honesty, when you look back, it's just like, yo, like wow, I
yeah,
really am doing this for fun. And every time I get on the pod, I don't even ask myself, man, how much I'm gonna get paid. Like, unlike college football, where athletes go up to their coaches like, how much you gonna pay me? Like, nah, I don't even do that anymore. Like, I don't. At first, my mindset was, okay, I gotta get paid, but as
yeah,
time went on, I said, like, you know what? This is for this is not only for me, but this is for the people that will hear. This is for my parents that have invested a lot into me. This is for my professors, my friends, everybody that's in my circle, like that have seen me grow and invested a lot into me. And I just think, looking back, like I said, when we get older and stuff like that, looking back, and if God were to bless us, in the podcast industry where we are sponsored, it just makes looking back, like it makes the journey so worth it, because you were focused
yeah,
on getting better. You were focused on elevating the craft. And people don't understand, podcast, it's a craft. It really is. Not everybody can podcast for real.
yeah,
Like
yeah. No, because not everybody can speak, bro. And a lot, I just talk. Like I don't write anything down. My first couple podcasts, I was try to like see what I was going to talk about. But now when I have people on, like the other time, when the last episode I think I had solo, I was just talking about the music and how
yeah,
Drake and K Dot are going after
yeah.
it, and I just talked about that for an hour. But when it comes to that stuff, man, I don't try to script it because I just feel like if it comes natural, people will feel that, and whenever it's natural, people will know the BS versus the
and
genuine
that's
stuff when
and
you're
that's the
actually
scary
speaking.
part, because people really like I listen, bro. I be telling people all the time, like I don't like people, bro. Like I like people, but I don't like people. But the scary thing, you know what I mean? Like,
I
but
understand
this,
what
but
you
the
mean.
but the scary thing about
Yeah,
people is they are they have a very good sense like of judgment. Like they can really tell if you're really BSing or not. And you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's the last thing on earth. And I'm gonna be real, like kids, like a lot of podcasts, especially when it comes to sports, are more centered around like the teenagers, the preteens, and stuff like that. Like people our age or the young adults. And it's like, yo, like we could really tell who's real and who's not. Like you mentioned at the beginning of the
Yeah,
episode, like Club Shay Shay. I don't always agree with Shannon Sharp's take, but like I don't always agree with his takes, but I know he real. You know what I mean? It's like you have a
yeah. You know what he's saying is coming
ex-
from a part of him where he believes it, and whatever he's saying it
exactly
because he has conviction about it, and that's where you can tell. I've heard certain podcasts where it's like, okay, you're doing this, you're not really doing this. Like you're doing this for maybe for some clout. You're doing this for this or that, but I can
right.
tell you're not doing this because you enjoy it.
Right.
You can
And no,
tell when people are
exactly.
doing that.
And that's the thing, and like you said, to piggyback off of what you said, it's like you're really just doing this for fun, and I think a lot of times, like I said, like it's a craft, and people can really tell, and people put a lot of time. Like for me, every podcast I do is off of this MacBook and this microphone and these headphones, bro. I don't got no setup. I don't got no studio.
Yep.
I don't gotta drive around just to get paid. Like I'm gonna be real. Like I take pride in being solo. You know what I mean? Because it's like I really want people to understand where I'm coming from, but I also want them to understand how authentic that I try to be with what I'm doing. And I'm gonna be real. Like I really, really
Yeah.
every time I get on the podcast, like bro, I really, really enjoy and listening to you as well. Like I can tell you really enjoy like doing it. And I remember like because we had math together in 11th. When I was in the 11th grade and
Yes.
you were a sophomore,
Yeah.
and we had Miss Gary's class. And I remember like you were like when you got around people that you were comfortable with, you opened up a lot. But when it came to
Yeah.
people that you didn't really know, you kind of like you were an observer. I could tell you saw a lot. Like I know you, and I'm
See, yeah. So I mean, my thing was like, the people I'm around, I know who they are. You always got to watch for snakes in the grass whenever you're speaking. So I don't speak out of turn. So whenever I'm around folks I don't know, and they may know somebody I know, it doesn't mean we're cool like that. I'm observant. I see what you say. I see how you act, and that's how I am. And I think that just comes with the thing of growing up with a big family. I think you learn a lot from that. And no, yeah, that's correct. I observe for sure. I make sure I I look up and down before I talk to
facts,
somebody, make sure I
facts.
know
No,
who
I
I'm talking
mean,
to.
and that's the thing with a lot of people. For me, like and I'll be real. I feel like the podcast, anytime I know people probably think that I am a talker, and I am a talker. Like once I get around you and I'm comfortable, like I am a talker. But like you, like if I'm in an environment where I don't know people, it's not because I'm nervous or I'm scared of my surroundings. It's really like I'm observing who I'm sitting next to in class, or
Yeah.
I'm observing who's talking a lot, because just because you talk a lot, I don't necessarily exude confidence. It really doesn't. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah. More so exudes that you're
that you're
just
not.
trying to portray
Yeah.
something that you're not, if anything. For the most part, because a lot of people will hide behind ego, and a lot of narcissisms hide behind their actual insecurities, and that's another thing I observed. The loudest one in the room is not the most confident person in the room. So I've noticed that with a lot of different people. I mean, everybody has their different ways of dealing with things, but at the same time, I'm gonna sit back and do my thing, and then once I know who you are, that's when we be cool. I try to keep the circle small. I don't try to have a lot of friends. I don't need a lot of friends. You know what I mean? I got me and my dog in the apartment. You know what I mean? Like I don't need a lot of people around me. So that's how I feel. Whenever it comes to speaking in crowds. Now, am I social? Absolutely, for sure. I got in trouble from in Miss Gary's class as much as I can count because I wouldn't shut my mouth. I wouldn't. Now, school was a social environment for me. I went to class. I got my grades. It was
Facts.
social. That's what it was. You know what I mean? I grew up with a big family, bro. You had to talk, you had to speak, and sitting in a class in rows and columns just wasn't for me. It never has been, never was. You know what I mean? So whenever I got out of high school, I had two classes my senior year. I didn't go to. I mean, I went to two classes. That's not. I had environmental science and like
Yeah.
AP whatever. You know what I mean? I don't even remember what it was. It was just to get those last two credits. I worked, and then I was like, I need to get in something that I'm better at. I washed cars for
Right.
2 years. So I was like, this is enough. I'm tired of washing cars. So I got into sales, and sales it just worked out. Everybody told me don't join sales. You're like you're gonna work a long time. You know it's gonna be hard to get sales. This, and that. But if you got it, you got it. And I'm not trying to, bang my own drum, but when you know you're good at something, you're allowed to say you're good at something. And whenever I got into it, I mean, the first 3 months were a struggle because you're hopping into something you don't know. But at the same time, after those 3 months, okay, this is what I need to say. And, I'm a social person, get to know these people first and
Sure.
then sell the product. You know what I mean? So that's just how it goes. And so to piggyback on something you said earlier, you were talking about how somebody if a company came up and asked if you wanted to be paid for certain podcasts and stuff like that. I don't know if I wanted to do that, bro. If the thing is once you get to the finish line and people start congratulating you, then you've already made it. So I don't know if I even want to do. Even if this got big enough, which I don't care if it does or it doesn't. But I would be like, well, if I'm there, I don't
Right.
need anybody at this point. You know what I mean? Once you get there where people want to start paying you money, I should just do this solo. Maybe I won't have the reach, but in,
Right.
in due
I
time, I
agree. I
would. You know
mean,
what I mean?
I think the reason for that is, I mean, you know your worth. I think a lot of people like get these new personalities. Let me put this in layman terms. Like when you think about the NBA, like college basketball players, right? A lot of these athletes have been getting paid under the table for decades, right? But when you elevate to the NBA, you got the guaranteed contract. Everybody knows you're getting paid. But I think the difference between
Yep.
the college and I work in college athletics for my graduate assistantship, and I've seen it in college sports a lot. Like a lot of these athletes will think that they're nothing without the big time contract, without
Yep.
the increase in followers in your Instagram. And I think it gets lost in the process, in the journey. Like bruh, like everybody wants a big contract like you, but what's gonna set you apart? And I think and what you said when
Exactly.
you talked about when you were starting out, because at Mercedes, like it took you a minute to kind of get the hang of things, and that's normal, and that's the process. But when you talk about
Yep.
and even with podcasting, but when you talk about when you get if you were to get that contract, you wouldn't even want the congratulations because you already knew your worth. Now, not saying that
Yep.
the congratulations isn't great. Like, yeah, I appreciate it. I ain't really asked for it, but I appreciate it. But when you look back on when you first started, like, bro, like you've come such a long way. You should feel very proud. Like this is when you knew your worth. Like in a time where people
Exactly.
start out in something, and yeah, when you start out in something, yeah, you can get discouraged. Like I get it, you can get discouraged, but you also keep your poise. Like you also keep your head. You also say within yourself, well, I'm a student. Like the Jay-Z's were a student. The LeBron Jameses were the student. These big, like Joe Rogan was a student. And now you see him, right? So I think when you honestly look
Yep.
back, like it's not that I wouldn't want the congratulations. It's not that I, wouldn't want to do this anymore. I would like want to go solo. And I feel like I agree with you. Like I would want to go solo too. Now don't get me wrong. If you paying me like 20 M's a year to podcast, I mean
Yeah, but think about this, bro. If they're paying you 20 M's, how
I
much
ain't
are
even
they
gonna lie,
making?
they making a nice big buck.
Exactly. If you're making 20 M's, and what
That's
stipulations
true.
come with
Yeah.
those M's? You know what I mean? What are they gonna tell you you can or cannot say? And that's
Yeah.
where it gets kind of dicey for me because I'm like, I'm a free will. I'm gonna say and have who I want to have on because I think they're interesting people and I want to hear what they have to say. So that's kind of the problem. Like, because I haven't heard a lot of people like, oh, you're making it big now. That I was like, no, like, yeah, I have like 500 views, which is or 500 plays, maybe like 15,000 views, but that's not nothing in compared to other people. Obviously, I appreciate all the
Right.
views. It's not what I'm doing it for. But if if that did come a time, I'd be like, well, what's your check look like? And I'm not looking at somebody else's check, but I'm like, well, what are you making, and what are the stipulations for what you're going to pay
Right.
me? Because there's always stipulations. They're going to tell you something you can't say, and as soon as that happens, then they're going, oh, you can't say this. They're going to censor that, stuff like that. So that's the problem with a lot of stuff nowadays. And I'm just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm getting that much attention. I think I would probably just start my
So
own
so
kind
let
of
me ask you
program.
this,
Honestly,
because you see, I mean, we're living in different times. 10 years ago, you see, like, I'm gonna be real. I watch Family Guy. Family Guy now is not as funny as it was 10 years ago because of the thing. You know
it's
what I
not.
mean? Because of the
It's
things
censored
that
down,
you
bro.
know you have to watch and stuff. Let me ask you this: like, what is your outlook on the way the media has is presenting itself? Like now, like you said, if you're gonna get paid 20 m's, if you're gonna get paid any type of money from a production company, whoever sponsoring a podcast, none of that comes without strings. But like how like what is your
Yep.
outlook on the fact that you have yes, you are 10 years ago, yes, you have to watch what you say and stuff like that. But there is a fear of being
Yep.
canceled, which has really been the topic
Yep.
of a lot of conversations and a lot of people on, in the public atmosphere, when they have a mic in their hand and stuff like that. So what is your opinion on how the way the media is constructed right now?
I'll tell you something that Denzel Washington said. He said you're either uninformed or misinformed, and I'd rather be uninformed than misinformed because misinformed that means they're telling you lies, and I'd rather not be telling lies. I'd rather not know lies over being misinformed. When it comes to, I just think it's who can get the hit out first, not who can get the truth out first, and I think that's the biggest issue. I think lies spread like wildfire, and then the fire truck takes forever to show up when it comes to truth, and that's how it is right now. So I try not to be on Twitter. I try not to be on Instagram because all that stuff. Everybody's just gonna post something for the likes, for the views, for the comments, and stuff like that. If I want to do research, I do research myself and find it, through what I think is gonna be true. It's hard to tell what's true and what's not true, and I think the whole cancel culture thing is I think the market should take care of itself. I think, when it comes to different things, if the free will of people don't like it, it'll wear itself out. But when it comes to like censorship and all that, I think people should be able to say most everything. I don't think because once you start cutting back people's speech and you take away their right to speak and stuff like that, that's the biggest issue for me. It's like, well, why can some
Sure.
people talk and some people can't? And that's the biggest issue. It's like I think everybody should talk, everybody should listen, everybody should be a sponge. And okay, if we don't like this no longer, we're not going to watch this. And the views and the likes and the comments will do themselves. And then on the other side, if it is good, if it is truthful and people believe in it, it'll rise by itself. I think truth always comes out. So I think the fact that we're trying to censor people or not try to hurt people's feelings or trigger people, I think it's all BS, bro. I can't get into it. I'm not one to cancel people. If me and you disagree, let's sit down and have a conversation about it. I'm not gonna try to tell you you can't speak just because I disagree. I
I
think
mean, I
that's
agree.
completely
I
wrong.
think how do I want to say this? I
See, even now we have to like, but like for me, it's if people agree with me and they like what I'm saying, listen, please. And if you don't listen to me, you like I tell this on one of my podcasts. I was like, you clicked on my face to listen to my
mhm,
podcast. You know what I mean? It's not the other way around. If you don't like what you're hearing,
yeah.
you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to listen. I don't if you don't agree with me and you don't like it, don't listen. You know what I mean? But I think most people are not curious enough or strong enough or they don't want their opinions to be, a difference of opinion actually to be, criticized whenever for us to have free speech, for us to be able to talk, we have to be able to disagree because that's just how the world works. We're all different folks. We
Right.
all come from
I
different
agree. I
backgrounds.
mean, and you hit the nail on the head, bro. You know, it's funny you say that because as a journalist, someone who aspires to be a journalist, I'm gonna be real. I watch both Fox News and CNN. I
I try not see, the thing is I try not to listen to either because I
I
just
know it's
dog,
uncomfortable.
it's
It's
I
uncomfortable,
don't know
bro.
how
I
to
know.
describe it. It's just it's not I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable, but just like we were talking about earlier, you can
Yeah.
tell what's genuine and what's fake. As soon as any one of them
Mhm.
anchors open their mouth, I know it's fake. I know you're pushing this. The thing is the sides are
Yeah.
so polar opposite. It's like, how can I
Yeah.
listen to what you're saying and believe it? You don't even believe because there's no
Yeah.
conviction in it. There's nothing. You know what I mean? It's all a fallacy, and
It is.
it's hard, bro. It really is hard for us growing up, because like I said, our generation loves controversy, so that's what they're feeding us, and it's just hard to find the truth. It's somewhere in the middle. I don't. The gray area is getting blurrier and blurrier as we get older. I feel like, but bro, it's absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know how to fix it. I think conversations like this help a lot. Two different people, me coming from a large
Oh.
family. I don't know how big you.
Oh,
I think
I have a little
you have a
brother.
sister, brother,
We got a big family, bro. Yeah.
little brother.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, so just coming from stuff like that, like we disagreed all the time. My dad would put us in the same T-shirt and we get over it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I don't know, bro. I really don't know what the fix is. I think it's people stop listening to all the BS because I feel like we get funneled BS through a tin horn over and over, and we just eat it
I mean,
because it's
yeah. I
just
mean, you think
information.
about the traditional medias, you think about like articles, you think about television, social media. In all honesty, bro, you know the shade room, the Instagram account. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah,
Like, I actually had to
yeah,
like unfollow them, and for one, it's like, yo, y'all are grown adults, like making money off of gossiping, on somebody who gets a divorce, on a celebrity couple who gets a divorce, like the average American couple does. And on top of that, um, it was really hard to dictate what was factual and what was just straight up cap. Like in all honesty, well, no, I take that back. It wasn't hard. It
yeah.
was very easy. It was very easy. It was really very easy. It's just like, all right, now y'all just capping. Like y'all didn't even do the research for real. Like y'all, and
Exactly.
you brought up the very good point earlier. You said, I'm gonna do the research myself. Like in all honesty, and I think with anything, like if you're gonna watch, like for me, and this is just how I operate. Like when I watch like the Fox News and the CNNs, I typically go in knowing what I already know because of the research that I've done. I don't go in saying like, okay, I'm gonna watch this just so they can make me feel good about what I already believe and what I don't believe. You know what I mean? Because I feel like when you talk about like having conversations like this, I feel like doing your own research, that's how it starts. Instead of going off of the opinion, or at least as a journalist for me, because all right, I'm gonna say this as a journalist, and I'm gonna say this as a person. As a journalist, I do believe that I I do not need I have to I don't want to say I don't want to be biased. I don't feel like I should be biased because I mean you see it with Fox News and CNN, they're polar opposite, but in a way like how it's constructed, it's virtually similar. You Fox News,
Yeah, absolutely.
right wing leading, the right, CNN, the left wing leading. But I feel like as a journalist, I think it's important that I remain unbiased and not have my personal opinions. Now, if someone were to ask me my opinion, I apologize, bro. Yeah, yeah, no, like I
Saying
think for
about
me,
different medias and whatnot.
as a journalist, I do believe that it's important, or at least as a freelance journalist, I think it's important to maintain, not maintain neutrality, but definitely be unbiased in a way. Because I feel like I don't either way, people are gonna disagree with what I say or not. I'm just giving you the facts. Like this is for sure. This has
Yeah,
been reported. This has been verified. Like these are the facts. But as a person, I do believe that if I am going to be biased, I do believe that the least I could do is look on the other side or whomever and be like, okay, well, I see where they're coming from. Or if I don't see where they're coming from, I'm gonna ask if like I'll be completely honest with you. My family's Democrat, right? Um, but there are in my personal opinion,
yeah,
I don't necessarily agree with everything that they've done. Now, in a way, I have conservative friends, right? Some of my closest friends are conservatives, right? Uh, I would ask
Yeah.
them their opinion. And in the process, they would hear my opinion. And here's the common denominator: nobody's having a shouting match. Nobody's is disrespecting the other person. And I think, honestly, I genuinely feel like having conversations with people that you disagree with is more credible than watching news media, than that you look to validate what you feel. Because at the end of the day, nobody I, and I pride myself on being a student of learning. And I feel like if I'm going to go into this industry, if I'm going to go, be a journalist, I do believe that I have a duty to not only, if I'm gonna write, not to only, like, okay, be confident in what I believe in, but to also be a student of learning and hear other people's perspectives as to why they think the way that they think, as to why they believe the way that they believe, as to why they feel the way that they feel. And I feel like in the last few years, it just feels as though people think it's a sickness to disagree with other people. Like, if it, like what are you talking, like, oh, you're stupid. Are you an idiot? Like, no, I'm not an idiot. I just disagree. I disagree with what you said. I got facts to back it up. And
Yep.
I'm doing my research
Yep.
as to not only what I believe, but also as to what you believe too. So in a way, it's a win-win situation for all of us. I like
Absolutely.
that's just how I see it. But
Yeah.
I even I
No.
try to have
Yeah. No,
conversations with
you're
my
right, bro.
grandfather.
For sure.
My
Yeah.
grandfather's a Democrat, and I try to tell him. I say, "Hey, Grandpa, I ain't even gonna lie. Even though I vote the same way you do, I don't necessarily agree with everything that has been done by the Democrats, so to speak. But at the same time, who am I to look? Who am I to? And
Yeah.
this is Cameron, the person, like, not the journalist. And even if it was, I still feel the same way. Like, who am I to look down on someone or to belittle someone or call them out their name because they feel differently than me? I think that's one of the principles of how this country, was founded. We're gonna freedom of expression, right? Like, why can't I why can't I believe what I believe, and why can't you believe
Yeah.
what you believe? But at the same time, we have, you know, and don't get me wrong, sometimes the
Yeah.
conversations they're not always going to be comfortable, and because of that, it's hard for people to listen and to empathize with what other people are saying. But at the same time, who am I to look down on someone because they disagree with me? And I do it in sports all the time. Some people say LeBron's the GOAT. Some people think that MJ's the GOAT. I personally think LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. But who am I to think? I respect that. I respect that. I respect that.
Kobe.
Listen. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a second. But who am I to believe, or who am I to look down on another human being because they have the same rights as I do? They just don't
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
different. They just don't. They don't feel the same that
Yeah.
I do. And that's, honestly, I want people to disagree with me. I hate yes men.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. My girlfriend was telling me the other day. She was like,
Me
"Yeah,
too.
Cam,
Yeah.
one thing I really like about you
Absolutely.
is that you can really create conversation, and and if you disagree, you empathize and you recognize my point of view, but you don't ever put me down about it. But and I just like how I just like how you're not a yes man." And I'm like, "Well, thanks, I guess, appreciate it."
Yeah.
So yeah, I really don't like yes men. People at Fox News
Yeah.
are yes men. Why? Because their jobs depend on it. They have to be yes men. Everything Rupert Murdoch says, it goes. And it's
Yeah.
the same way with CNN. You have to, and I'm not saying that every person at Fox News
Yeah.
and at CNN has a vindictive vendetta against the American people. Obviously, you want to give people news. You want to share people the state of the country, but at the same time, there are others who have state of different agendas, in my personal opinion. And that's what both sides. That's what both sides. So yeah, man. I just don't like how when it comes and going back to what we were initially talking about, I just don't like how the media is now constructed with if you say something right now if you are in a position of authority or if you are in a public atmosphere, if you are intentionally perpetuating or spreading uh uh misinformation to other people, as a result of another person, then I have a problem with you, because now you're literally the reason why a lot of people are out there confused. But if you actually have the facts, if you have the sources, if you have the research and or even personal experience, who am I to sit here and belittle your personal experience with whatever it is we're talking about? So yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
that I just don't like how
Yeah.
the media in a way is influenced uh in a way by the fear of getting canceled because you disagree with something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, my personal opinion, and I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. I base it because I feel like whenever it sounds like a prom
Facts,
thing for me.
facts.
Oh, we're voting for the high, we're voting for the most popular people. That's just how I see it. I just and a lot of people are very, especially older people. I think our generation is doing a little bit better with it, but they
For the
stuck
rest of my life,
in.
right?
Okay, I voted this way. I'm voting this way for the rest of my life. And I think that's troublesome for me because I mean I'm not gonna vote somebody solely because you're a Republican or Democrat. I'm gonna see what you've done. I'm gonna see how well you've done, and I'm gonna see what you do to do make life better for us. This is not a prom contest. You're not going for prom king and queen. You're gonna be part of the
Right.
greatest country in the world. You need to make sure you're doing that. Excuse me. But I think a lot of media, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, but I feel a lot of it portrays people as disagreeing, and I feel like most people are willing to have conversations, but we see the most catastrophic, we see the most vindictive kind of arguments in the media, and we think that's how the entire country is, and I don't believe that whatsoever. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people on both sides, and I truly don't believe that it's as divided as people like to say. I really don't. I've had a lot of conversations with people. I have, especially starting this podcast. And I think the problem stems from people seeing it in the news, people seeing it
Yeah.
on social media, and taking that as a real life thing. And that's the biggest issue I think with me is whenever I have a conversation with someone, I'm listening to listen to understand. And I feel like there are certain people who listen to just rebuttal and give
Sure.
a answer instead of listening to what the other side has to say. And it's just that's the problem for me. And I will never ever say I'm a Democrat nor a Republican because I don't agree 100% with either side. I don't. There's certain things I agree with in the Republican side and there's certain things on the Democratic side that I also, agree with. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, and I don't think I should have to choose. I don't think that's something I should have to do. I believe in 100%, freedom of speech. If you have something to say it, and the people around you and the people who are listening are going to dictate whether we agree with that or not, and whether you should be even on the airways or not. If you're going around saying you're a Nazi, you're not going to get too much play too much longer. You're not. And if you're going around saying you're going to kill people
That's
and
real.
you're a
Yeah.
terrorist, you're not going to get too much play much longer. I promise you're
Yep.
not. And trying to censor people, we should do the opposite. We should let these ignorant people talk, and we'll figure out who the wolves are, and we'll figure out who the sheep are, and somewhere in the middle, that's where the sheepdogs are. You know what I mean? We're doing the complete opposite. It's completely micromanaged, and like we talked about earlier, the whole censorship and cancel culture is so ignorant. It's doing the opposite of what people want to do, and it's making more problems than it has to be. If people actually sat down, whether you're a feminist, whether you're Black Lives Matter, whether you're right or left, or what doesn't matter, whether you're a feminist, lesbian, gay, anything on the spectrum, whatever, if you sat down with somebody and actually had a constructive conversation, you will
Yeah.
realize there's more middle
Yeah.
ground than what the media portrays it as. In my subtle opinion, I just think we we play into the game, and that's just what it is. We play into the game that the media, says. And it's just like the Roman Empire, bro. Whenever they used to go into the
Yeah.
Colosseum and play the game, so
Yeah.
everybody's distracted. We're just distracted right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stuff like that. I will never
Right.
ever call myself a Republican or Democrat, no matter how I vote. No matter. Another thing is, like, people talk so heavily about how they vote, and I feel like that's such a I feel like it's a personal thing, just like with the vaccine, just like with different medical stuff. That's such a personal thing. Like, why are people talking so much about this that used to be so private, and you kept it, you used to talk about it amongst yourselves? Um, it's just wild to me how everything's changed, just looking back at history and how it actually is repeating itself over time, and how empires fall and all this other stuff. They get so caught
Yeah.
up within themselves that they don't see what's actually happening. And I think that's what's happening today, man. It's just we're controlled by the media, by social media, and it's actually pretty scary. But I don't know a way to fix it. That's why
Yeah.
I'm on here talking to different people. I try to hear different perspectives each time. I will never vote based on a certain colors, based on a certain demographic. I will always vote on who I think has the best interests in mind for the government. And unfortunately, they give us poop and
Yeah.
vomit in one hand, and you have to pick one of the two. You don't have an option. Um, and it's just a lot of different things like that, man. I think everybody needs to get educated as possible. Don't listen to the main outlets. Try to find your own stuff. It's just it's it's crazy to me. I don't understand the whole political system we have right now. It's just not something I was taught, not something I've read on.
Yeah.
It's
No,
very different from
I
past years,
wanted
and it's
I agree with
just
everything you just
it's
said.
crazy to
I
me.
wanted to make a point when you talked about how, the Nazis and stuff like that. I think you said we should let them talk. I ain't gonna lie. Anybody who say they are Nazi, a neo-Nazi, I ain't no, no, cause I'm gonna be, no, go ahead, go.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying we should agree with what they say. I'm not saying we should give them a platform. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying for us to have freedom of speech and realize who the bad people really are, if we're not letting them talk, if we're censoring everything and cutting it off, we're not going to know who those people are. You know what I mean? We're not going to know it. So how are we going to know who the
If they
wolves
have
are versus who the sheep are if we're
if they
not
have a
seeing it out
swastika
loud?
on their
You know what I
face,
mean? Like, if we're
on
not
their
seeing it.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be real, like, and I have a question,
Exactly.
but I'm gonna say this, and the reason why I
Yeah.
said that is because I'm all for hearing people talk, but when it comes to extremist groups that have a history of
Hmm.
um the genocide of a group of people, and that look at people that look like me like we're nothing more than a waste of space. uh
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything. You can
Absolutely.
talk,
Yeah.
but if you on television, or if I see somebody out in downtown Athens saying, white power and all this and all that, uh you don't got to worry about me. You
Yeah.
need to worry about the other black fella who will probably come in there and slap the taste out your mouth. Because it's like, because at the same time, when it comes to stuff
Absolutely.
like that,
And
I do believe that it it benefit, or it doesn't benefit. It resonates different with white people than it does with people of color, black people. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And I know you know that. I know you know that.
absolutely. For sure. No, I completely understand. Yeah. No, listen, I will never
Yeah.
understand the struggles of being a black man. I'm a white man, and that's where I was born at, right? I will never understand the struggles or what black people go through every day, and whether it be in inner cities, whether it be just internationally, right? What I'm mostly saying is we can pick out these people by what they say. And the more we censor them, the better they get at
Okay.
doing these things. You know what I mean? And that's my main point. If we don't find out who these people
Okay.
are, then we'll never know who these people are. You know what I mean? They can hide and all this other stuff. And I think once you hear people speak and they're not scared to speak anymore, okay, these are the people we need to stay away from, and we need to educate these people. We need to let them understand this is not how this works. We are all one human race under God Himself, and the
Sure.
the melanin in our skin does not dictate who we are. You know what I mean? I was telling Iman this in the last episode. Our skin color is solely based on how close our ancestors were to the equator. That is it. That is solely it. Our ancestry, our genetics are solely based. Anybody who was up north had lighter skin. Anybody who was closer to the equator had darker skin. That's excuse me. That's how the sun resonated with our skin, and over time, that's how we evolved. I think
Sure.
that a lot of that
Sure.
is. Do I agree with Nazis? Absolutely not. 100%, right? But I'm not saying give them a platform. I'm saying we need to find out who these people are, so either we can educate them, or if you
Yeah. Facts.
let's say you
Facts.
said something sideways to me,
Facts.
it's dealt with. You know what I mean? It needs to be dealt with. The more we let it fluster, and that's how bigger groups come together. The more we let it fluster, and the more we let it sit, the more we don't, you know, attack it and stuff like
Right.
that. The more we don't talk about it, the more these groups are going to get bigger. And I think that's maybe I didn't explain that as best as possible, but I think the
Okay.
more censorship
Okay.
we do, the worse it's going to get. Because then people aren't talking because they're not allowed to talk. They're afraid to talk. I want to hear what people have to say because if you're that type of person, guess what?
Yeah.
We're not going to engage. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to be any of that. I don't agree with
Yeah.
any of
Yeah.
that whatsoever. And I think that's the point I'm getting after is the more we hear from people, the more we realize, okay, this group is not a good group. And the more people realize that, and we platform it, we put their face just like they
Facts.
do with the milk cartons when they're trying to find kids. We put their faces up there.
Yeah.
We
No,
realize these
I agree.
people are
I
not
agree
the
with what you
people
said,
we
and
want to be
and
around
I'm
or we
glad you
agree with.
clarified that. Because because you brought up a very good
Yeah.
point, and you said the more we censor, then the more at this point you might as well not even give people TV shows or their own news show because it's like you're censoring what they say. Now, I will say this, because I'm in communication law. I'm taking this class, and I learned about the FCC and stuff like that,
Mhm.
FCC airwaves and stuff like that. Obviously, I do believe that when it comes to children, I do believe that some things should be censored from them. Now, unless you're the parent and you feel like they shouldn't have a problem that if you're the parent and you think that your kids can watch this, okay, fine, so be it. I mean, I had friends in the second grade watching Family Guy, but as I got
Yep.
older, I'm like, dang, a lot of people's kids was really watching this stuff. But
Yep.
what I will say is, I do believe that when it comes to children, I do believe that there should be a limit to how much of the media that they consume and things of that nature, because it's like, bro, it's children, you know what I mean? Like, I can't really like explain it, but it's like, it's children. Now, when it comes now, if I have a son or if I have a daughter or something like that, I'm going to let them know about how America sees you, like not you, but like my kids, right? I'm sure my
Yeah.
wife would do the same thing. Um,
Yeah. No,
but
I
at the
got you.
same time, like my mom, she would have us, watching, Roots and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be real, it was uncomfortable. It was, but it was reality, Um, I do think that there should,
Yep.
be a limit outside of my kids learning the history of my history, our history, true history, and stuff like that. There should be, with anything, I think, with TV shows and movies and stuff like that, there should be a limit as to what kids consume. But at the same time, when it comes to mature adults like ourselves, I do believe that we can watch, like one of my favorite talk show hosts is John Mayer. Oh, I'm sorry, not John Mayer. That's his name. No, not the
Yeah.
singer, not the singer.
John Mayer. I was about to say he has a
What's his
show.
name, bro? He's on HBO. I forgot his name. I literally forgot his name. I said John Mayer, not the singer. Hold up, bro. But anyway, because I'm looking it up right now. But I really like his talk show. Let's see, John Mayer.
While you're looking that up, so what I think parents have
I
lost
don't agree.
responsibility of taking care
I'm
of
sorry.
their
I agree.
children.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
Your job
Yeah.
as I haven't been a. You don't agree? Okay. Okay. So with that, growing up until they're 18, you have not complete, I wouldn't say complete control, but your job is to raise that
Yeah,
child in the best way possible with the best morality as possible. So if you're allowing TV and you're allowing iPads
it
to
is your fault.
control
Sure.
and parent your kids, then whatever comes out of that is your fault. You should be the parent. You should take control. Hey, we're not watching this. This we're going to watch this is educational. We read a book, something like that. And I think that's where people have lost it. It's like, well, we shouldn't see this on TV. Maybe you shouldn't show that to your kid on
Yeah.
TV. Maybe you shouldn't let them watch that on TV.
Right.
That's not the TV's fault. You know what I'm saying? It's like you pick up a spoon and you eat. You're full now. Is
Yeah.
that the spoon's fault that
Right.
you're full now? No, it's the person that ate the food. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people
Right.
blame a lot of things on stuff that they should take responsibility for, and that's I think, in my opinion, I think our generation is doing a lot better things than previous generations when it comes to
Mm.
understanding stuff like that. Do I think we're ready to
Yeah.
be parents? I'm not sure. I know I'm not for sure. I can barely take care of me, myself, and my dog. But when it comes to stuff like that, it doesn't need to be censored. Take your kid and tell them what they need to be watched. Sit them down.
Right.
Hey, we don't watch this because of this. You're not old enough to listen to this stuff. Just
Six,
like the birds and the bees, we
16.
don't teach our kids
Yeah.
until they're
Yeah.
hitting puberty and when they understand that. Exactly. There's no reason for us to be,
Right.
as a
Right.
people, letting our kids watch things they shouldn't or we don't believe in. And people have different things. People of different religions, different backgrounds watch different things and listen to different things, and that's fine. All of our morals are going to be a little
In that
bit
middle.
different.
Right.
It shouldn't be here and here, but it's going to be somewhere in that middle. And if you have a child, if you have someone who's young, they're not going to be watching South Park. If you're letting them watch South Park, naturally, when they go to
Yeah.
school, when they go
Yeah.
out, they're going to say exactly what South Park says. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. And the thing of people complaining we
Right.
shouldn't see our kids do this, don't let your kids watch it. Don't let your kids watch it. It's that, or listen to it, whatever it is. Don't let them do it. You're the parent. You're in control until they're 18, and they can do whatever they want. But teach your kid how to behave, what to watch, what not to watch, and how to treat people. And if you're a man,
Yes.
a father,
Yes.
teach your kid how to treat women. Teach your kid how to treat women. That was engulfed in me
Yeah.
as a child, as a man growing up. My
Yeah.
grandmother and my mother, even my father, taught me how to treat women. If you didn't open the door for that woman, don't take her out. If you didn't meet the father at the door before you left, don't take her out.
Yeah.
These were things that were embedded in me
Right.
from a young kid. You know what I mean? Take care of what you love. And that's why I can tell all parents. I'm not a parent, so I don't even know the struggle, and I'm not even going to try to understand the struggle. But when
Yeah.
it comes to that, teach your kid what to and what not to do. And don't complain about what the TV is showing
Yeah.
them. Because guess who turned on
Yeah.
the TV?
Bro,
The parent.
bro, I hear exactly what you're
So
saying.
that's just
man.
how I feel about it, man.
And honestly, I'm gonna take that a step further when it comes to when it comes to kids and what they watch. I think it's a lot of the kid because kids have such they have a sponge for a brain. So what they see you do and what they see
Yes.
you say, they're going to say it to somebody else's kid, and they're gonna get in trouble. But you are going to be the one as the
Absolutely.
parent. You're gonna be the one to blame. I'll give you a
Yeah.
funny story. When I was 20, I was back in Augusta for the summer, and I was a soccer coach. And as I'm at this little daycare, right? I'm at this daycare. I'll never forget this kid's name. His name is Noah. I'll never forget him. Noah, Noah is like he's misbehaving. He's like, hey, like I'm gonna just be here and I'm gonna terrorize all the kids today. This man called me, shut your
Yeah.
BA up. I was like, hey, bruh, ain't no way dude, this is a baby. This is a baby. And I wasn't necessarily, it caught me
Yeah.
off guard. I was like, dang, like this a 4-year-old, like that is really saying it. And when I went to and I brought him to his teacher, I was like, as a soccer coach and also as a man, you really got to check that with their parents, because at the end of the day, it's not on you as the teacher,
Yeah.
but it's on them as the parents, because what these kids what these kids take in, they will then in turn put out to people who don't even deserve it. And so for me, when it comes to and I my bro, I was wired the same way from my parents, my grandmothers, my mother, teaching me how to respect a woman, teaching me how to, be chivalrous in an age where chivalry is dead. My father, my grandfather, my father and my grandfathers taught me
Absolutely
how to
dead.
respect women. When it comes to as a man, I think the best part, and I'm saying this as a personal standpoint, the best part about being me is that I get to go every single day knowing that every decision I make. But I at least was brought up by people.
Yep.
I came from a two-parent household. Um, came from a two-parent household. I was close to all of my grandparents. It's rare, exactly. It's so rare. It's so
Which is
rare.
rare nowadays.
Came
Which
from a
is
two-parent
rare
household,
nowadays.
was close with both sets of my grandparents, close with my cousins, my uncles and my aunts, and even them, my uncles and my aunts taught me how to respect women. Taught me that as a man, okay, if you find this girl, if you find a girl and
Yep.
and she's the best thing that ever happened to you, or regardless of the status this girl holds, because nowadays, if you are a gentleman and you do a nice thing, a lot of girls gonna think, "Oh my God, he likes me." My mom right now, I'm gonna be real. Like, just because I'm a chivalrous, I hold the door open for you, or I do the nicest thing for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that I like you romantically. It just means that my mom taught me to, be a gentleman. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. But I say all that to say this.
Yeah.
I and similar to you, man, I ain't ready to be no parent, bro. Now, when that day comes, that will be the happiest day of my life, alongside getting married. But when I when God hands me the keys of being a father, bro, I'm not gonna be worried because I know what I was taught. I know what I was taught from my father, from my grandfathers, my mother, my grandmothers, and I could feel like I can speak for you. Like, you come from a very close knit family, bro. Like, you know what I mean. Your mother, your grandmother. I've seen you
Absolutely.
post on your story about your grandmother, your mom. I mean, and things of that nature. Your grandfather, your brothers, your sisters. I mean, I think learning what we were both taught, I think in the end, it's gonna make us better fathers and better husbands. Now, we are prone to make mistakes. And that's okay. That as men do, you know, as men,
As
we are
men do.
going to we're
As
we're
men
going to
do.
make mistakes,
As
bro.
men do.
And that's
We
like,
make
and
mistakes,
I
brother.
feel like that's probably the most Christian thing, is that God, yes, God knows our heart, but he also knows that we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do stupid things in our life that may hurt people, or that may disappoint people, that may, in a way, cause people to look differently at it, look differently towards us. But at the same time, God knows our heart. And at the end of the day, we were taught what we were taught. And, and not just our parents, but our siblings. My brother knows me better than I know myself. I'm not gonna lie. And I don't mean that. And he's my. And I have a little brother, so he doesn't. And I'm not saying that to be condescending, but my little brother is the smartest human being that I've ever known in my entire life, and he teaches me things about myself to a point where I'm like, bro, how come I'm always finding myself learning from you, but you can't learn from me? I'm the big brother. I got the experience. You don't. But I think that's the beauty of it, because I think with anything,
Yeah.
God puts us in positions where we can learn from anyone. He just doesn't give wisdom to the older people. He gives wisdom to everybody. And going back to kids have a great sense of character. Like, you talk about people that can judge and spot a fake from a mile away, it's a kid. I mean, like, growing up, majority of the kids' TV shows that I saw, a lot of the plot lines had to do with somebody being fake. You know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. So it's, you see it, and you
Yep.
see it, and you see it. And I don't know. I just think when it comes to parenting, you gotta. I think for me now, and I'm learning. I'm learning as I go now. It's just I try to have compassion on people who like on kids who are disrespectful to adults, and I see it all the time, bro, on TikTok and social media. You got these people out here doing pranks, you know what I mean, on people that they don't even know. And it's like, bro, like I get what y'all trying to do, but it's like y'all gonna mess around and get shot for real if you end up pranking the wrong. And it's not cool, you know what I mean. And I don't
That's
even
not
say that
cool.
to be
It's not
dramatic,
cool with
but
me,
I
bro.
I
It's not cool with
genuinely
me.
mean that. Like, one of y'all gonna mess around and get hurt for real, just because of the fact that y'all doing all this stuff for likes, clicks,
Yeah.
views, comments, and all of that. And it's like, bro, like I know a lot of people look down on college, and I know people say college isn't for everybody, and I understand. I'm never ever going to degrade or belittle anyone's life experience. If you're making money, bro, you're making money. I don't care. But for things that I want to do, I have to go to school for. But at the same time, though, I'm never gonna disregard. But I do believe that if you're going to just sit around, like sit in a car and plot a move on a human being that you don't know, and try to prank them, um, you're not only risking your life, but you're also risking your cameraman's life. You are also risking the person that you're pranking. You're also risking their life, because they could either mess around and go to jail for assault, or they could go to jail for murder, because of the fact that because it's stuff like that that you
Yep.
decided to do,
It's lame.
and you decided to, you know what,
It's lame,
I'm
bro.
gonna prank this person and not think about the consequences of my actions. It's stuff like that. It's lame. And
It's lame. No, when I see somebody messing with an elderly person, especially
sure.
coming from someone who really genuinely
Yeah.
love their grandmother, love their grandfather, it makes my blood boil, bro. I look good. I said this before. I look good in orange. So like, if anybody wanted to mess around with
Yeah.
any of my grandparents or even my nieces or nephews, I look good in orange. So I'm
Sure.
cool with going to. I'm cool with looking
Sure.
behind bars for a second just to make sure you ain't messing with them again. Um, damn, I just went to a dark place there.
But it's
Anyways,
real though. It's real.
but anyway, no, like that's just lame. It's lame to me. I don't. It's lame when I see stuff like that. I think of my grandma, especially.
Uh-huh.
I seen some
Yeah.
things like in New York where they're just going around hitting folks for no reason, just for the views. Nah, somebody 6 foot deep may look good on you too. If you look like I look good in orange, you look good at 6 feet deep. And I don't mean that with any animosity, but no, my family means everything to me. And if anybody came up to my mom, my dad, my nieces, my nephews, my
Yeah.
siblings, we're gonna find out. And that's all I have to say about that. But that it makes my blood boil, bro. It really does. That stuff is lame.
It's lame.
If you're doing that and you listen to that right now, I'm telling you right now, that shit is lame. It's not cool. It's lame. It's not cool. Nobody thinks you're cool.
And the
Everybody's
thing
looking
is,
at you like a goofball, bro. That
oh,
shit is
oh,
not cool at all. Especially when it's
absolutely.
elderly people, man. That shit makes
Absolutely.
my
No. And
blood
and the
boil.
thing is,
It
the
makes
thing
my
about what
blood
you said,
boil.
like you talk about how, when it comes to stuff like that, you see the comments underneath these posts. Just because people laughing or are laughing at the people getting pranked doesn't necessarily mean that they think that you, oh my god, you're such a visionary, you're such a genius. Why didn't I think of that? You're Dave Chappelle. Oh my god, nah, bruh. You
You're
are
Dave
being made fun
Chappelle.
of too. So when it
Yeah,
comes
no.
to stuff like that, it
Shit's
it puts a
lame.
lot of things into perspective. And I think about, and I'm not gonna lie, like you talk about going to a dark place, bruh. I be thinking about that stuff too, because I'm like, dang, like, because my family just transitioned to Atlanta a year ago, and so like I'm thinking like, well, dang, like what if my parents, like, they out
Yeah.
on the street one day and they want to get pranked, they getting pranked, somebody hit them. Don't let me be there, because I'm gonna just put aside all my morals, all my integrity, and I'm not saying that to be a tough guy, but it's like when you know what,
No,
exactly,
you're not putting aside
exactly,
your morals, bro. You're standing on your morals. You're
because it's
standing
like,
on them. Get that corrected, because you're standing
yeah,
on them. You know what I mean? Like whenever someone disrespects your family out in public and they think they're trying to be cool with it, I'm telling you right now, I look good in orange. I've tried it out. We good to go.
Win
Like
stupid
if you want to
prizes.
play
Yes,
games, you
sir.
want to play. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And if you want to play games, that's how it is,
Yeah.
man. I don't play about my family. I got nieces and nephews that I would die for. And if anybody want to play games, we can find out what that strategy is. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I'm not a tough guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm 165, about 5'8". I don't that. You know what I
I
mean?
no,
Like I'm not
I
a
agree
big
with you.
dude, but if
I
you
agree
want to
with
play
you. And it
games, we
just
can win
comes to a
prizes
matter
for you
of, and I
too.
think the way that, the dialogue that's being exchanged, it really just teaches us how we were brought up. Because at the end of the day, like, my parents taught me how to love my family. Your parents taught you how to love yours. And at the end of the day, we've seen our family members struggle. I've seen my dad struggle. I've seen my mom struggle. I've seen my grandparents. I've seen everybody struggle, but they've come so far, and I refuse to allow them to be ridiculed and mocked for some likes and some clicks. Because I do believe when it comes, like I said, and I don't wish this on any TikToker, YouTuber. What I do not wish this on anyone. But what I will say is this: there will come a point in time that if you are, and I don't care who listens to this, if you are a TikToker or a pranker or whatever, there will come a time that you will meet the right one. That one is either gonna pull out a gun or he's gonna slap you in the mouth. And I'm not just talking about men. I'm talking about women too. Cause and we lose sight of the fact that it's men. Oh yeah, it's men, but it's also women too. Women will slap you in your mouth too. Just don't hope that they're with their boyfriend, their
Yeah.
husband, their father, their brother, their cousin. Everybody, hey, listen, everybody related nowadays. So listen, man. Only thing I gotta say, phone call.
No, all I gotta do is make a phone call.
Facts.
All I gotta do is make a phone call. That's all it. I gotta make a phone call.
Yeah,
I remember this dude was. I remember high school. This dude was messing with my sister, and I didn't make
yeah,
a phone call to my brothers.
yeah,
Shout out to Jelani Shakir. Rest in peace to him. He's my homie. I grew up with him, but at that point, I was on a football team, so any type of problems, I'm off the team. So I went up to Jelani. I was like, "Listen, this dude." I told him his name. Been messing with my sister. Obviously, I can't do nothing about it.
yeah,
Take care of this for me. Like, just let him know what's good. I ain't hear my sister ain't hear nothing from him from that day forward. And that's the type of people I'm gonna
yeah,
be around. As
yeah,
people,
man.
like I said, R.P. to Jelani. That was my dog. That was my dude. Broke my heart when I heard he passed away. But
Right.
at the same time, I make one phone call. It's not good. You know what I mean? So I got people, and I know who I got. And nah, that's any TikToker, any YouTuber doing some lame shit like that. Try to be like Mr. Beast and actually do good stuff for people. Don't come out
It's
here pranking
lame.
old
It's
ladies and
lame,
pranking old
man.
men and
And
pranking
and
little
like you
kids, man.
said,
That shit's lame as hell.
rest in peace, Jelani. When I found out he passed away, it hurt too. Um, it actually,
Yeah. Broke
really,
my heart, man. We used to play in the front yard at my mom's house together, bro. Like we would play. Like, so when we was older,
yeah,
at one point it was hide and go
yeah,
seek.
yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't call it that no more because it got too old. It's called manhunt at that point. I remember him coming over. That was my dude, man. I remember listening to all his tracks, promoting them best I could. Yeah, nah. When I heard he was, whenever I heard he passed away, that really broke me, bro. Because
yeah,
I remember he was working at Home Depot or Lowe's. I couldn't remember which one. But hearing that, bro, just hearing something like that
yeah,
close to home and hearing that dude, bro, was cool. Bro was my
yeah,
dude. That was another brother, I had in my life. Besides the other seven brothers I have, hearing he passed away,
yeah.
I mean, it
No,
just
I
makes
mean,
you take a different perspective on life. But
I
that was
didn't
my
have
dude
the
for sure.
relationship, that others had, that he had, that others had with him. But I remember we spoke in passing because I sat with Eric Graham. My junior year, I sat with Eric Graham, Demarie Harrison,
Yeah,
Justin Brosmer, Bashawn Morris at lunch, and he would come to our table, and I would just see him in passing. I don't think he knew my name, but I knew who he was. And dude was straight up cool, man. Dude was a great baller,
yeah,
hooper. But he was also a great person. Football, everything,
yeah.
man, everything. And I think, yeah,
Football, basketball, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
bro just had like a welcoming smile, bro. Like whenever you was talking,
yeah,
like he paid attention to what you was saying. Jelani was a genuine dude. I'm not sure exactly what happened. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I really don't know. I don't want to know what happened because that was my guy. But when he always called me little bro, it was nothing. It was always little bro. What's going on, little bro? Stuff like that. So whenever I heard that, man, it really broke me because that was my
sure.
dude for a long time, and I would always put him on anytime I got, because he was a rapper at the time, Lil Lonnie
Yeah,
G. But yeah, that broke me down, bro, for real. The stuff like that, it hits home, especially when you grew up with someone like Jelani. I mean, Jelani,
right.
if you was around Jelani, he was there to make you laugh. He was a dude who was a genuine
Yeah,
guy. He
rest
wasn't
in
there was
peace,
no fake
brother.
about Jelani. So rest in
And
peace, Jelani, for
I
sure.
it's funny you say that. I was
Yeah, that was my
actually,
guy, man.
bringing up Jelani. I don't know if you remember, I had a podcast with Malcolm, Calais, and Nick Tolbert. And Jelani, and we were talking about,
Mhm.
or not. I don't want to say turmoil, but the reasons as to why the Grovetown basketball team, when we were there, uh, when he was on the team and stuff like that, like why didn't they like achieve success the way that like we expected them to do? Because like they had a team, like talent everywhere, and and I just remember him
They have a
telling
team,
me,
bro.
he
Yeah.
commented and he was like, yeah, no, like let me hop on it and stuff like that. And, because he was like, yeah, we also didn't have the social media presence. And the coaches didn't capitalize off of that. And I was actually planning the next time I was going to have other basketball players from that team on the podcast, and he was one of them. And when I heard, I actually reached out to his sister, regarding like, hey, my name's Kameron Farmer. You don't know me, but I wanted to, reach out to ask that if it'd be okay, if I, if I got some of his teammates, I brought them on the podcast just to, kind of facilitate a conversation about what Jelani meant to them and things of that nature. And unfortunately, I didn't hear back from her, but I wasn't gonna go
Yeah.
forward and still do that without their consent, because at the same time they're still grieving. We don't know what's happening with them. I don't know him. I didn't know him personally. I didn't know his family like that, but at the same time you always want to respect those who
Yeah.
are mourning. So, but yeah, man, it's an unfortunate. It was very unfortunate when I
Yeah.
heard what happened to him. But I know you're doing him proud, man. I know he's
Yeah.
proud of you. Just
Yeah.
based off what you've said to me, and how your relationship was formulated, man. But you're making him proud. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, bro. That's love.
Yeah. That's my dude, bro. Yeah. Yeah, no, I just remember playing football with him, bro. Like I telling you
Yeah,
right now, bro, never had he always had a smile on his face, bro. No matter if he was getting yelled at by a
yeah,
coach, it didn't matter. The bro always had and he always on my back too. I just remember walking down the hall, he'd be like, "Yeah, what's up, little bro? What's going on?" Stuff like that. And nah, man, that was that dude, man. He was it's definitely unfortunate. I pray for his family and whatnot. That's crazy when I heard that news, man.
yeah,
I reached out to Taylor because Taylor grew up with him. Obviously, he's more his age, but yeah, bro,
yeah,
that
man.
shit was
Yeah,
crazy. But no, rest in peace, Jelani. That was my guy. Even when I wasn't at Grovetown, we was still talking. That was
yeah,
my guy. But
yeah,
man, he's in a better place now. It's all love. That's my guy. That's my dude. Yeah,
yeah,
and as you grow up, more stuff like that gonna happen. Um, you just gotta take it on the chin and go about your life, do your
yeah,
thing. But that's my guy. You know what I mean? I remember every
yeah,
song he came out with on SoundCloud. I was subscribing, like I was listening to it. Him and Armani really set the
yeah,
tone for Augusta when it comes to like who's rapping and who's not rapping. Um, but yeah, bro, like that. It
yeah,
sucks,
man.
but that's part of life, and
Yeah,
you got to keep going. But yeah, bro, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
yeah,
I don't know if he's still on SoundCloud
yeah,
or not, if
man. No,
they took
I
him
and
off,
I'm
but yeah,
listen.
it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
And as we get older, it's just gonna continue happening, and it's part of life. You're
yeah.
gonna mourn and do your thing, but
No,
you know,
I mean, I
you gotta
understand,
feel it.
brother.
That's
I
what
know,
life is, a
I
feeling
know we don't talk
process.
like that, but I'm here if you ever want to talk. Because I know, grieving is,
I
it never
appreciate you, brother.
ends.
Yeah,
Like and I understand, bro. Like
No,
it's a process
no,
for
no.
sure. You have some good days and you have some bad days, and but yeah, grief is a never it's an ongoing process. But yeah, brother, I'm here.
And yeah, so a lot of
Yeah,
people ask me because I've lost, I lost my grandma, lost my grandparent or my grandfather, and a lot of people
yeah,
ask me how you deal with it
right,
and if it gets better, and it doesn't get better. The pain is still there, right? So, and as a man, as you
right.
know, we're not really allowed to show emotion. We're not allowed to. It's just how it was from a young age. You're taught, you don't need to show emotion or you're a sissy, you're this, you're that. And I
Yes,
want to tell
bro.
everybody who's listening,
Yes,
you're allowed to do that, bro. Like that's not something that you have to hide. Talk to somebody if you need to. I know my mama's always there if I need her.
yes,
Find somebody like that who you can talk to, who you can be around and
yeah.
have those
No, I
conversations
agree,
with,
man.
because
And
that's what you need, bro. And to a point though, like this podcast
yeah,
is another way
yeah,
for that to happen. For me, this is therapy. Just talking to different people and realizing what they come from, and maybe if
hmm,
so I heard this from one of my teachers. I think it was Miss Williams back in fourth grade. She said if everybody put their problems in a
yeah,
pot, I guarantee you would
yeah.
pick yours back up and take it back. You know what I mean? So we all have issues, we all have problems, but we all, it's just it's a feeling and a growing process. Life is life. You're gonna
Absolutely,
lose people in your
absolutely,
life,
man. I
but you have to
think
appreciate the people that are in your
in a
life at the same
way,
time.
we think that as men, it's not cool to cry. It's not cool to show emotion. When we get a girlfriend, it's not cool to be, chalant. It's not cool to be, oh my God. Yeah, him.
Shout out to Drake.
Hey.
Shout out to Drake. He allowed that. 2000,
No,
whenever he came
but
out with Take
but
Care,
I
thank you,
think
Drake. I
as
appreciate
men,
it.
I think you see it now. I think with social media and how it's in a way it's wired a lot of guys' brains to think that if you don't care, then you know all good things are gonna come to you. And in a certain way, yeah, if you just
Yeah.
keep it G and stuff like that, yeah, sure. But at the same time, bro, like it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to talk to someone. Now, when it comes to like school counselors, I'm not like belittling school counselors as a whole, but for me, I don't necessarily trust them primarily because I don't think they really cared. I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they
exactly.
have to tell your parents, so it's not something that's like secluded. I mean, I think a thing with men nowadays, I think we're made fun of. Like, if you think of the major memes
Yeah,
right now,
yeah,
it's Michael Jordan crying, it's Tyrese crying, it's men crying, right? I don't know if see, I've been thinking about this for a while. I don't know if they're trying to emasculate us or if we're just maybe I'm reading into it too much. But
okay.
anytime a man cries, it turns into a meme, and I have a problem with that, man. Just like
Hall of
when
Fame.
Michael Jordan was getting
Yeah,
his acceptance speech at his Hall of Fame speech, he started crying. It turned into a meme. When Tyrese was talking about his kids being taken away from him and his wife divorcing him, he was crying. It turned to a meme. Whenever Michael Jordan was talking about Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bean Bryant, who is the goat,
they
by the
did.
way, um, they made fun of him, and it doesn't sit right with me that a man
Yeah,
crying is something that you can make fun of. It does not sit right with me because this man was crying because start off with MJ. He was crying because the 15, 16 years he did in the NBA, his dad passing away
NBA
after
title.
he
Uh huh.
won that national title or the NBA title, and then him going back and forth with baseball because his dad loved baseball and he always
Yeah,
thought he was better at baseball and that's why he played. He played for his dad, and then he gets to the Hall of Fame, all the accolades. Everybody says he's the goat, and he's unanimously the goat. I mean, I've
yeah,
honestly he just Kobe Bryant was different for me. We'll get to that later, but um, people made fun of him for that. I think it's just it doesn't sit right with me, bro. Like this man went through so much between his dad dying, getting the Nike deal, getting three
no, it
peat
doesn't.
twice. It doesn't sit right with me, bro. It doesn't. And then Tyrese with the whole losing his kids, losing his wife. it just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Every time a man
Yeah.
cries, it
No,
becomes a meme, and I'm not a big fan of that at
I
all.
think with stuff like that, it just makes men not want to come out emotional and stuff like that. It makes men not want to show their, their soft, their
Exactly.
softness and stuff like that, because it's like, no matter how we feel, either it's going to be get made fun of, or it's not going to be taken serious. And as a man, yeah,
Yeah, and then
it
if you
is a nick,
do if you show that, then it's a ick. You know what I mean? It's a ick. It's an ick. Oh, and, if you get stressed out like
Yeah,
me, I have anxiety, bro. I'm be 100% honest.
yeah,
I'm medicated on it for now. Ever since I was 20 years old. And if you like, for me, it's big crowds. You know what I mean? If I'm in a big crowd, that is creeps up. It's not something you can control. And then the fact that
yeah,
people can
yeah.
weaponize that, I think that is so sick, bro. Especially
Very,
against men who
very
are not
much.
allowed
I
to cry.
mean,
It's sick, dog.
it's tough. I think when it comes, speaking for me, like, I didn't grow up in a household where, my dad thought it was terrible to cry. Like, I've seen my dad cry in front of me. I've seen my grandfathers cry in front of me. My male cousins, I've seen them cry in front of me. And I think I personally I personally find peace in knowing that I can be who I am regardless of what people think. If people think it's a nick, like for example, um uh yeah, I'll give you a prime example. When I was a junior. When I was a junior, I was talking to this girl, and she ghosted me, and as a result, I was too nice. I was she wasn't used to someone being nice to her or being kind to her. And I was, exactly, bro, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, bro, like,
Chivalry's dead.
I hate how much, being nonchalant and being disrespectful has become so normalized on the side of men when it comes to men and relationships and friendships and things of that nature. And I don't care if I cry in front of people, because I'm happy. I'm happy if I cry in front of you, because I want you to know that I'm disrupting the norms that have been placed within the last 4 5 years, probably more than that, when it comes to men. And yeah,
Oh, for sure. I
yeah,
think it's just been accepted these past couple years, bro. If I'm
yeah,
being completely honest, I think men up until probably like 2018, if you was
yeah.
showing any type of
It is,
vulnerability,
and that's
that's
the thing. Like, I think
that's
now
used
when
as a
you're on
weapon,
Instagram
bro.
and you see a
Honestly.
lot of, a lot of these podcasts, these relationship podcasts, I start to see a lot of women say how much they love when a man is able to be soft around them, when a man is able to be, they let their guard down around that woman, because they know the hurt. And if it ever got to a point where that they got into an argument, they will never use their past to throw it back in their face. Because once you use my past and you throw it back at me, regardless of our relationship, whether it's a friendship or relationship, whatever, even my family, if you throw my past back at me, oh, you just changed the whole trajectory of the relationship at that point. Because I thought enough of you to let you
Yeah,
in,
for sure. Yeah,
and you showed me why I shouldn't have in the first place. You know what I mean? So I think now, you're seeing. I think, and this is where coming, as a father and a husband comes into play. You know, we are both very fortunate enough to grow up in two-parent households, and I'm not saying that men who don't grow up in traditional households and two-parent households, not saying that they aren't, that they don't know love and they don't know affection and stuff like that. But I think when it comes to a boy, there are some things that a man can teach a boy that a woman just can't teach. To in terms of it, the struggle. Exactly, exactly.
yeah, because he knows the struggle. He knows the struggle of it. Listen, and a lot of people say,
Yeah,
like, a lot of people want to portray nowadays that there's no differences,
yeah,
but there are differences, and that's
Right.
not something we need to squander on. That's not that we should celebrate that because there are differences.
Different.
Our
Yeah.
hormones, our chromosomes, everything is different,
It
and that's
is.
not
It is.
something
It
we
is
should say,
okay.
"Oh, that's
It
not
is.
okay," because it is okay. It is okay. Men are wired different, women are wired different. And that's not something we should shy away from. It's something we should embrace and go about our lives with and understand
Yeah.
that we
No,
may be different,
I
but we can
agree.
still
I'm
live
gonna be real. I'm gonna be
in peace
transparent with you,
together.
Jake. I go to therapy. I go to therapy. I talk about my problems. You know what? You,
Dude, that's strong, bro. That's strong. Listen, I will never,
right.
ever, ever,
Right.
ever hate on somebody to go into
Yeah.
therapy. Me, I take it a
Yeah.
bit different. I have a book where I write in. It helps me get along with life. It has
Yeah.
different things I do. As this podcast, for instance, is another way I deal with it. And then I'm medicated. Listen, bro, I will never ever hate a man or hate on a man for going to therapy or
Yeah.
using different ways to deal with anxiety, depression. Because listen, bro, it's a lot more than just having a sad day. It's waking up and realizing
Yeah.
like maybe I'm
Yeah.
maybe not I'm not okay, and that's okay, bro. And a lot of men need to hear this. Is
Right.
everything's
Right.
just because
I
everything's not
agree.
okay doesn't
And
mean
I can
everything's not okay. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I agree with you.
And I
And I
respect
commend
that
you. You
more
know,
than
you
anything.
journal. Like that's powerful, bro. Like that really is. I think any man who can find a healthy escape, a healthy way to cope with the pressures of this life that life places on us every single day. That's really that's the goal. And I think as men, it is okay to not be okay. It is okay to and I'll be real.
Exactly.
Part of the reasons, how I've been able to overcome a lot of the things that I have in my life is, still cultivating and still growing my relationship with God. And he's also and I remember growing up, I came from a church where
Yeah.
they looked down on therapy and they thought that if you go to therapy then you're crazy, and it's like, no, you're not crazy. You're going to therapy for the exact opposite. You're going to therapy to actually talk to someone who, you know in a way is going to teach you how to cope with certain things. But at the same time, my therapist also, she's very Christ centered, and that's in and of itself, that her being Christ centered has not only helped me, but also her being transparent, like as a human, has helped me as well. Because I think with anything, my dad, and like I said, my father's, I was around men who have cried and showed emotion, and I think that's what makes it so easy for me to show emotion as well. So yeah, man, I think this life, or this country rather, is has been, when it comes to men particularly, it has been it's been a it's hard showing, to the right, like I don't know, I guess when it comes to the right person, when you find the right person or people circle, they will love you for who you are. And then if you tell them, if they ask you, hey, how are you, how's your mental, and you tell them, it's not the best at the moment. I've been going through some things. You know what they'll do, bro? They will accept you for who you are, and they will love and appreciate you, and they will let you know that we are here for you. I'm here for you. If you ever want to talk about anything, if you want to just talk, I'm an ear. Like, you can literally say anything, whatever you want, no judging whatsoever. And I think when you find a group of people or a person like that, that really just it makes everything so much better, along with maintaining your different ways to cope with anxiety or fear or doubt and things of that nature, different mental health issues. And yeah, man, I just think a lot of times, man, it just gets to a point of not really caring what people think. And will I care if people think that I'm emotional as an ick? No, I do not, because at the same time, you're probably a hater, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things
Yeah.
where, it is my superpower. I like to think, I mean, I'm not like emotional all the time, but when I have to be, or when I find myself being emotional, I don't. I'm
Yeah.
not too cute. I'm an ugly crier. I'm gonna be real, bro. Like I'm an ugly crier. But I'm a proud ugly crier, so I ain't tripping whatsoever.
Yeah. What's crazy to me, man, is one thing that's not talked about that is really prevalent right now is since 2020,
Grown up,
the amount of
yeah.
male suicides have exponentially grown. Exponentially. Like I
Mm-hmm.
looked into this data, bro. It's grown like
Mm-hmm.
20, 30% since the
Yeah.
pandemic. And a lot of people are not talking about that enough. And you know what I mean? Like the mental health when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to men in society today is it's not good, bro. It's not. And a lot of people are a lot of men are hiding it solely because they don't want to get made fun of. They don't
Right.
want to be a ick. They don't want to be that soft guy in the group. But like you need to
Mm-hmm.
talk about it, find exactly how you said healthy ways to control it and to, deal with it as a man because
Yeah.
it's different in society today than it
No, you
has been.
don't
You know what I mean?
at
Like you
all.
don't
And I
have many
think
outlets.
now, I'm not knocking people for their, their methods, but when it comes to, smoking weed or drinking, your problems away, like you can try to run away from it, but your problems are still going to be there unless you confront them. And that's where talking to
Absolutely.
someone or journaling,
Yep.
or speaking out, or looking yourself in the mirror and telling you, like, or you accepting where you're at, like, as of this current writing, like. And so I mean, I don't knock anybody for smoking weed, but I do believe that when you're smoking weed, you're running away from the problem instead of confronting it. And don't get me wrong, like, I know people that smoke weed, like, I don't hate, but at the same time, I do believe that if you confront the problem and you not only recognize, but you confront it and you accept it, I think that just makes your path toward recovery a lot smoother than what you had anticipated. So yeah, man, as a man, it is important to know that
S-
it is okay to not be okay, but man, you got to talk to someone. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that because I do it. But I do believe, just find a group of people, um find a trusted individual, and just talk, man, just talk.
I do disagree a little bit with the
Yeah.
weed because I feel like it has a lot of medicinal purposes. I feel like a lot of the stuff, even the stuff I take, is solely synthetic, and it has a lot of what is it? It's a lot of side effects. You know what I mean? That aren't exactly what you want when you're trying to deal with it. Like when I first started, Lexapro and all that,
Yeah.
it had a lot of effects that it takes a while to get over. First couple weeks, maybe in a month, like you're dealing with a lot of dry mouth. You're dealing with a lot of stuff where you can't eat. I think weed does help a lot, and I mean a lot with anxiety. And I think there's a lot of propaganda in the weed because they made it racial and they made it all this other stuff.
Mm.
But I think it's a way to cope with it. I don't think people are running from it completely by smoking weed. I think it's a way for them to calm down, especially after a stressful day. And even the medicine I take doesn't always help 100%. So if you can find eh, healthy ways. I think weed, it does leave a lot of tar on your lungs, but if you find a medicinal weed to help you out with that, I'm 100% with it. I
Yeah.
honestly think it needs to be legalized. I don't know why they haven't yet. I think it's dog. We could talk another 3 years about
Yeah.
how weeds a problem with the government. There's a lot of propaganda into
Yeah.
it. I mean,
No,
started in
I
the
mean, I
40s,
agree.
but it's crazy,
I'm
bro.
glad you clarified that. I forgot that we did serve medicinal purposes. Um, you see a lot of NBA players who smoke. I think Calvin Johnson smoked weed. Megatron. He smoked like a lot of weed before every game
He
too.
did.
Like,
He did before every game.
yeah,
And so did So did
Yeah,
what's his name? Marshawn Lynch.
that's a
He used to
crazy
take 2 shots of
combination, bro.
Henny and smoke a
But
blunt
yeah,
before a game.
I think Blake Griffin, he smoked medicinal weed, medicinal marijuana as well. So yeah, man. I'm glad you brought that up. So I apologize for you know not saying that. Yeah,
No, bro. Listen. You don't need to apologize for anything, bro. This is a wide open conversation.
yeah,
Like I said, like stuff like that
yeah,
is allowed to be said because listen, bro, we all learning. We all learning through a process, and when it comes to that, like I said, there's a lot of propaganda behind it. The media, the government put a lot of you know, African Americans are smoking it, and they'll cause them to, rape your
yeah.
blah blah blah. And they did the same thing when it first came out. Where it really
Hmm.
came out was this person was printing a newspaper with regular paper, and they came out a more
Really?
efficient way to make newspaper out of hemp. And as soon as that happened, they were like, "Well, guess yeah." As soon as hemp started being made as a paper, because it was more efficient the way they threaded it, people started coming out with propaganda. Oh yeah, if you do this, Mexicans will go crazy and rape your daughters, stuff like that. It started in
That's
maybe the
crazy.
Ronald Reagan era, maybe a little bit earlier. But they use stuff to weaponize people, bro. And I may not be getting the proper timeline correct, and that's fine. People can look it up themselves, but it's all propaganda, bro. Weed has a lot, and I mean a lot, especially used in the right purposes to help with mental health issues, with anxiety, depression. It really helps you to understand what you're going through, as well as if you're microdosing mushrooms. A lot of people look at mushrooms, it's like, oh, we can't do that because blah blah blah. They did it in the '80s with cocaine and the rock stars and blah blah blah. But it has, if you look up the benefits, it's more benefits than it is actually the opposite. And
Yeah.
a lot of people
No,
just don't get
when you
into
talked
that
about
because
Ronald
they've been
Reagan,
told the same things their whole
if
life.
that was during the Ronald Reagan era, it was probably during like the early '80s, late '80s or something like that. Before,
Yeah. I want to say it may have been earlier. There was this guy, I don't remember his name. I read about it. He had a
yeah,
big paper company, big, and they were newspaper and magazines. And as soon as these people started coming out with hemp, because it was easier
yeah,
to thread for the paper or something that, and it was also cheaper. That's when they came out with the propaganda. Oh, this is happening. This is happening. It's always how it's been, man. They come out with just different propaganda to stop you doing
yeah.
this stuff so
No,
that
okay,
certain
yeah,
people can make money.
that
That's
makes a
it's
lot of
always
sense.
money based, bro.
Because growing up, I was always taught that weed was bad. Like weed was, you know what I mean. Like, but I think and
Same.
I'm glad you're talking about it. When you think back, it's like wow, like I forgot that weed can be used for medicinal purposes, and I think was it yeah, like Calvin Johnson and them, like and Marshawn, like they were doing it because they didn't get suspended. To my recollection, they didn't get suspended, right? Or getting past it.
So they
Okay.
didn't, but I mean, they had ways of getting past it. It's a little bit more strenuous
Yeah.
now. I think the NBA has actually laid
Yeah.
back on it a lot because I know Kevin Durant has talked about it on a couple podcasts. Um, but for the time being, like whenever like
Hmm.
AI's generation, Kobe Bryant's generation, it was definitely frowned upon. And if you found it in your system, definitely got a suspension. But Adam Silver has did a
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
job of being more understanding of the players and the players union, and actually coming to a hair and be like, okay, well, this has
Yeah.
medicinal purposes. So I can appreciate Adam Silver for a lot of things.
What?
Playing tournament may not be the best thing. I mean, or not a playing the
Oh,
tournament.
the
No,
NBA
not the
Cup,
tournament.
the
The
NBA
beginning of
Cup
the
jump.
season. You remember how they
Yeah,
won
yeah,
the?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yes, the cup. That may it's different.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't really mean anything because it was the first year. Maybe it'll get better.
bro,
But Adam Silver,
and
I mean,
I'm
he's
gonna be
done a lot
honest
of
with
good
you,
things for the league. I think he's
David
changed it up a
Stern,
lot.
um, he he was a great commissioner in and of itself. I remember when the NBA had their lockout in 2011, and just how bro, like dude was so professional in all of it. But Adam Silver, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I see him being the commissioner for like the next 20 years because he's done a great job, and it's not
He's done a good
and I
job.
agree with your point where you said that he's done a good job of adhering to and understanding the players and the coaches, but he's also done a good job of the fans, like what the fans want and stuff. And with the NBA Cup, I really wasn't sold on it at first, but when I saw a young team like the Indiana Pacers like get to the cup and stuff like that, I was like, oh wow. And then I put people like Tyrese Halliburton on, he's on Team USA. I don't know if you saw the roster for the Paris Olympics. Like he's on Team USA now, and he's a
Yes,
bucket.
yes.
And I
He's
think when
good,
you
bro.
have more teams like
Yeah,
that, young
yeah.
teams in these smaller markets, like I would love to see LaMelo Ball still compete. I would love them to compete for a championship contender if that's possible. And just seeing so many like young dude like the Houston Rockets, Jalen Green. I mean, it feels like he's having a great season every time he's playing. Cade Cunningham, even though he's on the trash Detroit Pistons, I do believe that he just gets better and better every year individually. Paolo Banchero is one of them, and they still lose.
He
You saw
could put up
we
50 and they
saw it with
still lose,
what's his
bro.
face,
I hate to
Malachi
see it.
Flynn.
I hate to
He
see
dropped
it.
50 off the bench, and they still lost. They played the Hawks. They still lost. Off the bench is crazy.
Off the bench is
Exactly, bro.
crazy,
So
bro. Off the bench with 50 points is crazy. Off the bench is crazy. I'm a Mavericks fan, so I love seeing Kyrie and Luka do their thing.
Jay,
It's honestly dope. I honestly
Jay,
love seeing a different type of dynamic in Dallas. I think so. I think they started off
Jay.
last year. They just couldn't get the chemistry together, in my opinion. This year, I think
Jay,
they
I'm gonna tell
came
you
through
this right now.
fruition.
I'm a
Like them
Kawhi
boys
Leonard
is
fan, and
playing.
we see y'all in the first round of the playoffs this year, bro. It is. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna be a good matchup.
yeah.
It's gonna go to 7. I think it's gonna go to 7. It's gonna be on that last game. Luka's playing his head
Cavaliers
off.
form, yes.
Kyrie's back to his Cavaliers form. The stuff I see, dude, the layups see him doing with the devil move. I mean, the cross ups he's doing, the threes with it's like he's back in the sixth game,
Yeah,
the sixth game of
yeah,
that Cavs versus Warriors. He's balling out. A lot of people, he had his opinions, and
yeah,
honestly, I appreciate another person's opinions. I like to hear everything. But when he gets on the court, the dude
yeah,
plays, and now they have that chemistry together. They
yeah.
got rid of Porzingis. They have a better roster now, in
Mm,
my opinion.
mm,
I do miss
mm.
Wesley Matthews in Dallas. I thought he was a dog, but things happen.
Yeah.
But I think Luka and Kyrie could really make a hit and try to go for the finals. Everybody talks about the Lakers. If they
So
did they win?
tonight's
Are they going to play the
they play the
Nuggets or are they playing the
Pelicans.
Thunder?
They're playing. I haven't. I Are they winning right now?
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, okay. So I had a notification like 5 minutes ago.
I don't know.
Lakers were up 83-76. They just finished the third quarter. I think they're in the fourth quarter right now. So they do.
The thing
They
is,
do.
bro, when they play, if they win, they got to play the Pelicans.
Yeah.
If they win, they got to play the young team in the Thunder. So I'd rather lose and play the Thunder than win and play the Nuggets. In my opinion,
times have looked a lot like they are definitely beatable. Like I will be honest with you, just because now obviously in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have been, in my personal opinion, the best duo outside of Luka and Kyrie in the NBA. But I think when you have a team, I would rather play the Nuggets than the Thunder. And Shannon Sharp, I think so. And Shannon Sharp said that the
you
Oklahoma
really
City
think so?
Thunder
Yeah.
right now are the weakest number 1 seed that the West has ever that the West has ever had. And when you have a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren as mobile and as versatile as he is spacing the floor, being in the paint, bro, dude. And then their coach Mark, I forgot his last name, Mark something. He's going to win the Coach of the Year. So for me, man, I just, bro,
I don't think they haven't won 16 or 50
since
games since
Durant
like
and Westbrook
16
was
right
on that
before
squad,
Durant
man.
left, right?
But I think I think with anything, what I've learned is you never count out LeBron with any series that he's in. I mean, we saw it last year when he went to the conference finals and how he was gonna. I didn't think they were gonna beat the Nuggets, but I just think because I mean Jokic is just unguardable, bro. Like nobody can stop him. But when you have this Thunder team, I mean, honestly, bro, I don't really have a lock on who's coming out. I would like my Clippers to come out for the first time. But bro, this Mavericks team, and then and I'm gonna tell you who won the trade deadline. Dallas. Dallas low key won because you got PJ Washington, who's a young star from Charlotte. And then you got Daniel Gafford. Bro, their defense has improved since then. And at the end of that's what exactly. And they weren't
And that's what they were missing. That's what they were missing, really.
offense.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, Luka and Kyrie are lethal on the offensive end. But Luka being such, I think they got Kyrie playing the 2 right now, which is crazy. I think he should play the 1. I think Luka should play the 2. But anyways, I think the additions to the defense have made big
I agree.
progress with that
bro.
defensive.
And
I mean, it's just crazy.
yeah.
And I've watched them, bro. I've been watching them for years, and I've been trying because I'm a big Mark Cuban fan. I do like Mark Cuban, and I want to see my Mavericks win.
Yeah,
they always come up short, whether it's against the Clippers, the Spurs.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
I'm hoping they can make a deep run.
We talked about it earlier. As a journalist, I'm gonna be unbiased, but I'm gonna give my same opinion as I would like if I was, if I was as a fan. Like, if anybody could beat the Clippers, it is Dallas. And I'm gonna tell you the difference between this matchup than the last two, because they played in 21 and then they played in the bubble. They didn't have Kyrie, and I'm gonna be real, bro. And I know playoff Kyrie is a different
playoff
breed.
playoff Kyrie with the incense burning.
He was
really
doing the incense in when he was at Boston, but.
Yeah.
But dude, they didn't have Kyrie. They didn't have a reliable big man to actually help space the floor and play defense. Kristaps Porzingis, in my personal opinion, he's a great player. He's a great 4. I do not know why he was always he did.
He played outside too much.
Point.
He played outside too much. He tried to shoot too many
you're
threes.
7 foot, but like you're always getting out rebounded by Russell Westbrook. Like, that make no sense, bro. It's stuff like that. But exactly. Oh yeah,
Russell's a dog.
Russell Westbrook
I love
is
Russell.
one of the
he gets too much hate.
most
I love
misunderstood players in the history of this game. Period. Because it's like, to me, he and Frank Vogel, when he was with the Lakers, when they were with the Lakers, he and Frank Vogel took the fall. Frank Vogel took the fall first because he was fired. Then Russell Westbrook got traded to Utah. Utah bought him out. Now the Clippers picked him up. I cannot express, and I'm not saying this as just a fan, I cannot express to you how much Russell Westbrook means to the Clippers. If we don't have Russell Westbrook, but we end up having Kawhi, Paul George, and Harden, I do not see us beating the Mavericks. Because I'm gonna be real. Unlike the Mavericks, with all due respect, they don't have the bench that the Clippers have. You got a Norman Powell coming off the bench. You got a Terrence Mann coming off the bench. You got a Russ coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Daniel Tice. I don't know what Ty will. It's crazy.
Russ coming off the bench is crazy.
Crazy.
Russ coming off him being a 6-man is crazy. Having him as a 6-man is crazy.
Russell Westbrook he won an MVP as a starter in this league. If anybody, every game.
They give you 20, 10, and 10 every night. 20, 10, and 10 every night.
Though, when he comes off the bench, first of all, you got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Harden, and Westbrook. 4 ball hungry players who in a way depend on the ball to be successful. But the best part about Kawhi and PG is that they can move without the ball. So if you're Ty Lue, you have the opportunity and the ability to substitute James Harden for Russell Westbrook and still be able to give and facilitate and running the floor and be a floor general. Oh,
and
my
having
God.
him running the floor.
Oh my God. exactly.
On your second team. Your second team has Russell Westbrook as their main leader. Bro is I'm
Right.
telling you, he's still
Right.
ferocious. He don't have the same jump or the tenacity as he
Yeah.
used to. But having him as a second team leader, that dude, he comes with a ferocity. He was making fun. Who was it? He was dancing that one game when they came back. Who was it? Who was it against? You know what I'm talking about. After the game, he was doing all
Was
the
it
dances they were doing because they came back from like 20
was
down.
it Cleveland? Because it was Cleveland because they were down 26. Yeah.
Maybe. Yes, it was Cleveland. Yes, because they was down 20 some, and then Westbrook after the game when they came back,
Yeah.
he was doing the same
Yeah.
dances they was doing. He has that tenacity, bro. He does, and he's
Yeah.
like a Pat Bev with more athleticism, more dunk power. He can shoot. He's gonna have his moments, and that's
He's
fine.
aggressive.
He's gonna have
That's
his
exactly
turnovers.
right.
He turns over the ball because he's so aggressive. And you want somebody
Yeah.
to wear down that second team whenever you're in that second team, and who's going to control the floor. He's going to make that second team
Yeah.
double check and double guess what he's going to do, and I'm okay with that. Him being the sixth man with the Clippers, with the amount of talent they have, Paul George, James Harden.
It's
I mean, you
deep.
have Russell Westbrook. I mean, bro,
Yeah. Sure.
it's packed.
Sure.
If this was
Sure.
2015, I'm going crazy. But
They gotta win.
the
They have
team
to
they
win,
have,
bro.
they need to win a championship, bro. And that's me.
Yeah.
That's me being a Russell Westbrook fan, like someone who was D Rose, but for
Yeah.
longer. You know what I mean? Someone who was taking over the game, and he was
Yeah.
triple doubling every night because the Thunder was his team at that time. Like, bro needs more respect than what people give him, and he also took the
And I
veteran
think
minimum on the
that just
contract
speaks to
just to
how
play with
selfless he is.
the
And I think
Clippers.
and Russell Westbrook, Brad's made over 200, $300 million in his career. He's good. He's straight. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer,
Yeah,
even if he doesn't get a championship. But I think now is the time for the Clippers to execute. You have the pieces. You have you have the coaches. You have it all. And I think, like I said, when one thing that Dallas doesn't have, that the Clippers do, is a reliable bench. But that's not to say that isn't to say that Luka
yeah,
and Kyrie isn't going to get theirs. The question that I have when it comes to your stars, when it comes to the PGs and the Kawhis and the Hardens, the Lukas and Kyries, we know they're gonna get theirs. That's why they're future first ballot. I mean, and if you ask me, every one of those guys are Hall of Famers. Like every person I just mentioned. What is their support? Harden, Paul George, everybody. Harden
yes.
is one of the
Harden, Paul
like the
George,
dude made the ISO. He made the isolation plays really cool again. I'm not gonna hold you, but at the same time, when it comes to your stars, we know they're gonna get theirs. The
yes,
question that I have for both teams is, what are your supporting cast gonna produce? What are the Maxi Klebas, Tim Hardaway Jr.? What is he gonna do? He's been in and out of the lineup due to injury. What is the Maxi Klebas? He hasn't been in the rotation as a like that. We got PJ Washington. This is PJ Washington's first trip in the postseason. Daniel Gafford, first trip to my recollection, first trip to the postseason. So when you have all these pieces around you, who it really just comes down to the supporting cast. Who has a better supporting cast? Who's going to better complement their stars than the other? Is it going to be Mavericks? Is it going to be Dallas, or is it going to be Los Angeles? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have this game going 7. But I do give the Clippers the slight edge, but at the same time, I wouldn't even be, if we lost to Minnesota or something like that, I'd be pissed. But if there's one team that I probably wouldn't be mad if we lost to, it'd be Dallas, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Real talk. Dallas is great. They're so inspirational.
Dallas is good, bro. Dallas is Dallas is good. I'm telling you, after that chemistry
Yeah.
got started with Kyrie and Luka, once they found their place,
But see the
it's lethal, bro. They can put up numbers. And
yeah.
I love Westbrook, so I want to
Yeah.
see him win a ship. But I love
It
Luka and
is. It
Kyrie
is going to
together.
be, and I think these
It's
play.
going to be a
I
great
don't know,
matchup.
man. I just feel like the sports in and of itself in this last year has become so freaking interesting. I mean, you see the evolution of the women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, and what's been going on. Angel Reese, Caitlin
Oh,
Clark. I
absolutely.
mean,
Angel
Camila
Reese, that's my
Cardoso. I
girl,
mean,
bro. And Caitlin
they
Clark.
had the WNBA draft yesterday. You see the anticipation, the electricity that was going on. I'm gonna be real with you. I love pro wrestling, WWE. I'm a kid at heart, and I'm gonna be real. When I seen Roman Reigns lose and Cody Rhodes win his first WWE World Championship, I was so happy because like this dude got kicked out of the WWE. Then he started another wrestling promotion, and then he came back to WWE again and beat arguably the greatest champion in Roman Reigns. And I loved it. I mean, you think about I mean, shoot, baseball is back.
Yeah.
The anticipation is high. You know, the Los Angeles Dodgers are the favorite to win. In my personal opinion, especially when you have Shohei coming back. Don't oh the,
Don't sleep on
I
the
was just getting ready
Rangers
to
or
say the
the
Rangers could
Braves. Don't
arguably
sleep on either
repeat
one of those
again.
either.
You got the Orioles. The Orioles are coming up. They got a young squad, but dude, they were balling last year. The Yanks are balling. You know, the Braves as well.
The
I mean,
Yanks are balling
Ozzy,
again.
he's on the IL list. But yeah, man, we lost Strider for the season. So, you know, but I think the college football, I mean, Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC. I don't know why, but at the same time, I think what?
I love it. I love it. You know why I love it? Because their fan base have been
Okay, yeah.
talking shit for so
Yeah.
long. Welcome to the
Yeah.
SEC.
Yeah.
Welcome to SEC defense. Welcome to SEC football. You're gonna realize you're
Bruh.
gonna get punched in the mouth every play. Welcome to the
ATL,
NFL. Welcome to people. Kirk Cousins going to ATL. Welcome to Dallas not doing a damn thing. Welcome to
Yeah.
Dallas not doing a damn thing in free agency, but signing a long snapper.
Yeah.
Welcome to just football. I'm very excited about this next season. I'm a
Hey,
Dallas fan, so I'm hoping we do something. I'm tired of Dak Prescott coming up short. I'm
Jay,
tired of Mike
I'm
McCarthy
gonna
coming up
say this
short.
right now, bro.
Hopefully we can do
I
something.
don't like the
Hopefully
Cowboys,
something happens.
but I think if there was any other year for the Cowboys to get it done, it was this year, bruh. I'm not gonna hold you. It was this year.
Listen. When it comes to Green Bay, we can't beat Green Bay in the playoffs. We can't, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, it doesn't matter. We can't beat them in the playoffs. If there's any other team, we'll beat them and we'll have fun with it. We scored the most points, had the most touchdowns in the league, and we still lost in the first round. I'm hurt about it. I watched it. I mean, I was sick about it. When Dak came out the second half and threw a pick six, I was more hurt than anybody, I promise. And every year, I'm going to be one of those fans. It's our year. It's our year. Even though in the back of my head, I'm assuming some play is going to happen where we lose the game.
Yeah.
But we have CeeDee Lamb. We have Dak Prescott. We have Brandon Cooks. We have Micah Parsons on the defense. We have Trayvon Diggs coming back. We have Deron Bland coming back from a Hall of Fame year with the most pick sixes ever in a football game ever played on the gridiron. We have one of the best defensive linemen when it comes to DeMarcus Lawrence ever played a game. We have a good. That's what I'm saying. Trayvon Diggs coming back. We played the Texans this year, so it'll be brother against brother, one-on-one matchup. So that's going to be exciting. We got Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles. I hope they lose every game. We got Danny Dimes. I'm an Eagles hater. I hope the Eagles lose every game every year. We got the Giants making big moves in not only free agency, but they're going to make big moves. They may get Marvin Harrison in the draft. Redskins they're probably going to get Jaden Daniels, and they just signed our defensive coordinator, who probably should have got the coordinator of the year to head coach. He's making some big moves over there. They just hosted JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and what's his name from Washington, Penix. It's going to be a great year for football. Yeah, it's going to be a great year for football. Watch out for Jaden Daniels. I'm an LSU fan, so watch out for Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors because they are both sleepers in the draft. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels does not go to the Commanders on second pick.
Yeah,
but if he does, God bless him because the Cowboys are going to kill him every time we play him.
I wanted to say about
it's exciting
about Malik Neighbors. I saw his pro day, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. That boy Malik Neighbors is a different breed, bro.
He's good.
I know.
He's good.
I agree.
There's arguments being made right now that he may be better than Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison has a better name. He went to a a
Malik
bigger
Neighbors,
school, and
bro.
that's
Like
fine.
I was
But
just and you
Malik
spoke it
Neighbors
right
is
out
that
of
guy.
bro. You said it right for me. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there was any other receiver that could be picked before Harrison. I Malik Neighbors is that guy, bro. Like he's fast. He did. He did.
He spoke in his pro day. He spoke in his pro day, bro. He spoke. And I'm telling you, that dude is going to be good in the league. I wish Dallas had a higher draft pick and we
Yeah.
would trade up, but we don't do anything in free agency. We never have.
Yeah.
It's not something we do. We do it all in the draft. This is how Jerry Jones likes to do it. I can't. I mean, I have to respect it. We got Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, all in the draft. We got so many different people in the draft. We don't go
Right.
hard in the. We never have gone hard in free agency. We just never have. So hopefully we can pick up a good running back because we don't have one right now. We have Deuce Vaughn, who is 5'5", 175 pounds at running back right now. So hopefully we can get somebody
Yeah.
in the draft who really balls out for us. Get some O linemen, get some D linemen. Hopefully it'll be a good year for us, man. The NFC East has gotten a
Right.
little bit tougher over the offseason, especially with Saquon going to the Eagles. Pissed me off more than anything. But and then Stephon Diggs going to the Texans really pissed me off. I was hoping he
Yeah,
was coming to
man. No,
Dallas to
I
play with his
mean,
brother, but
it'd be like that.
things
But I
happen.
think that just makes it so much better, man. I mean, you see a cornerback, a top cornerback in the league, and Trayvon, and a top receiver in this league, and Stephon, man. That you talk about a potential Super Bowl matchup, and I have great confidence in saying that because when I
That would
saw
be amazing.
CJ Stroud do in the playoffs, I'm like, dang, bro, like.
He's good. He's good. The thing is just like Cam Newton, just like Russell Wilson, just like Mike Vick, just like Lamar Jackson.
They will.
People are gonna make changes to their
Yeah.
defense to control these type of mobile quarterbacks. So we're going to see
Bro
what
was
he
a
can do.
dog.
But he's a
Yeah.
dog. I hate Ohio State, but bro is a dog. He's good. He's good at what he does. So we'll see what happens. But I
Oh, for
never
sure.
want to say we're
For
going to be
sure.
the second best in Texas because Cowboys are always
For
the
sure.
first best in
For
Texas.
sure.
It's been
I
that for
agree.
the past
I agree.
40 decades, whatever it may be. But that
Yeah.
team with Tank Dell, with
Mhm.
Stephon Diggs, with
Joe
CJ
Mixon.
Stroud, with Joe Mixon going to Texans. Jesus, it scares me a
Yeah.
little bit. We play them. I think we play them in
Oh, for
Dallas.
sure,
It's going to
bro.
be a good game. So everybody needs to be tuning in for that for sure. But Cam, bro, we're going on 2 hours, dog. This is my longest podcast ever. 2 hours on
Yeah,
the
man.
pod, bro. Listen, bro, I can't appreciate you enough. If y'all could see my boy's face right now, we're going on 2 hours just talking,
Yeah.
bro. This is what it's about. This is what I love. I love talking to my bros. I love talking to people. Dog, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we could have these conversations.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could talk about differences we have and still agree at some point. Find a middle ground.
For a while.
Dog, I really appreciate you coming on. We've been trying to do this for a while. If people don't understand, since the
Yeah.
first time I started this podcast, which was on my birthday, to February the 13th,
Yeah.
I've been trying to get this guy on.
2 hours,
Scheduling
bro.
just didn't work out. I finally got him on, and look at us. We going 2 hours on the pod, bro.
Yeah.
2 hours talking about just amazing shit, bro. I appreciate this guy so much. He got me started on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
He helped me out throughout the podcast. Cameron, I appreciate you coming on, dog. This should be posted in
Yeah.
the morning, probably between 10 and 11. Bro,
Yeah.
this was fun. Honestly, this is one of my best podcasts I had, in my opinion. I appreciate you coming on. Y'all go
Dad,
listen to
you're
him,
wrong.
Respectfully, by Kameron Farmer. And also the other
Yeah.
one was called Dad, You're Wrong. Listen to both podcasts. I've listened to both. This is where I get my notes from. This is how I learn to be better. This is not saying it's not.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive dude. When I listen to something, I try to take notes. This is what I do. This is when I played sports when I
Yeah.
was growing up. This is exactly what I do. Cameron,
Yeah.
I appreciate you being on, brother, and hopefully I can have you on again. We can talk about more stuff. There is some music out that we need to talk about soon.
Yeah,
With
man.
Drake and J. Cole, as well as Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you on soon again for that, because as soon as Kendrick drops, you hopping
here,
on,
man.
bro. We gonna
Yeah.
go into depth of that and talk about the whole system. But bro, I appreciate you. I love you, brother. Take it care.
Thank you.
Godspeed, bro,
Yeah.
on whatever you're doing. I know you're gonna be successful. I
Yeah,
appreciate you
no,
coming
brother.
on,
I
dog, and
appreciate you,
you
man,
know,
more than
all
you
God
know, and
bless
I
with
see
whatever
what
you
you're
got
doing.
going on.
Bro, I love it. I really mean that. I love what you're doing, man. Keep going, keep striving, man. And I see you. Real talk. I got to get you on respectfully. It may be when the NFL
For
season
sure.
starts back up, because I know you are one of the biggest Cowboy fans that I've ever
That's
known. So
fine.
I wanna
Yeah,
I wanna kind of talk about what is
for
it with
sure.
these,
Yeah,
what is the common misconception with Cowboys fans, but also we talk about life, man, and just catch up along the way. But I'm in Athens, and I know you in Athens, so whenever
absolutely.
you
For
want to
sure.
get together, bro, you know what I mean, like we
Oh, I seen you out, bro. Hey,
I knew you was
clown,
gonna
bro.
bring
We
that,
out there on
bro.
Saturdays.
I knew you was gonna bring that up, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
But anyways, bro, no.
But
Yeah.
no, man, I appreciate you. Yeah.
Yes, bro. No, but I appreciate you, dog. I really do. How we end this podcast every time, we always end with positive vibes. I ask the people that come on, my people,
Yeah,
just
man.
ending
Hey,
with positive vibes.
I heard a
Anything you got to
quote
tell the people before
from
you
Matthew
leave, bro?
McConaughey. He's my favorite actor, bro. He talked about he said whoever it is that I'm sorry. He said whoever it is we look up to, whatever it is we look forward to, and whoever it is that we're chasing. He said to that I say amen. To that I say all right, all right, all right. And he also said just keep living, man. Let everything you do be done with love,
That's right.
be done with kindness, be done with patience. Even though you are your own worst critic, you are your own best friend. What you tell yourself matters, and what you tell yourself in the end, it just determines how successful you are. So be kind to yourself, love yourself, and above all else, keep going. I'm proud of you. If nobody has told you, and Jay, this is for you, man. If nobody's told you, I'm proud of you. I see you. I rock with you, and I'm learning from you even as we go, bro. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that, man. So keep going, keep striving for greatness. For those of you that are listening, keep going, keep striving for greatness, and don't ever give up. Please don't ever give up, even though it gets hard sometimes. But everything you do, it has a purpose, and it's on you to find what that purpose is. But everything you do is strategic. You're playing chess, not checkers. Always remember that. That's all I got to say about that.
Absolutely. For
Yeah,
sure.
man.
Love you,
No, hey,
brother.
you got my
Take it
number.
easy. Hopefully
You
have
let
you
me
on
know. I'm
again,
here to
bro.
support any way that I can, bro. Real talk. Yes, sir, man. Love you, dude. See you.
Bet. I appreciate you, brother.